As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome, everybody. I don't know why. You see that like abruptly. I don't know why that. I don't know. It's weird. But we're back. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. Jeff, Booner, Lukas Gentry. It is Wednesday, September 18th. A lot of Lions to get to. John Maakaron joining the show. Hey, we got a packed show today. I'm fired up to get to it. We have comments from Bill Belichick crediting Matt Patricia for something Lions related. You'll find that out in a little bit. Giving some love to his former defensive coordinator. There's a lot of shit that went down, but we're gonna get into it today, fellas.
Let's do it. Hey, what's today? Wednesday? Hump day? It's hump day. It's almost time for football. I can't wait. I honestly, I'm so like my week's going by so weird because the Lions lost, and I listened to all these different shows and all these different places and like 97. Just like it's so negative. Like Lions talk's negative. Everything's negative in the city right now. The only positive thing is the Detroit Tigers, which is unbelievable. Well, I think we're talking about that later tonight. But like, we just had to get to this game because like in my mind, it's like let's just go get a win so all this stuff can get. Because there's like this back-to-back win things. Let's just get to the game and go play the football game and win this thing because it's stressing me out. I'm about tired of all of it.
Just need to get right game, Boone, and then next week will be the exact type of opposite talk. It'll be, the Detroit Lions are back, Jared Goff is back, so just give it time, Boone. It's week 2 overreaction. People are putting Saints to the top 10s list. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but in a couple weeks there'll be a lot more clarity. Everything will return to normal.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It is. I hate saying things are negative, but you're absolutely right. This is the right term to use. It's been negative. Like the Lions in the offense, like even though we talk about the offense, it's more about fixing their problems in the red zone. Like they got to the red zone 7 times and had 400 yards of production. Like it's not like this offense just forgot how to play. It's just like it's getting back to their identity, which we talked about yesterday, and we'll talk more about it this week. But I mean, the way you hear something, that's why I'm and I only can speak for myself. I don't tune in too much locally. I just don't. Like I try to just come and I just give, which you guys do too. You just give our opinions. But it's hard sometimes. Like, I don't know. I watch a lot of national stuff. Sometimes it's bad because you guys know national media sometimes can, certain narratives they keep alive. But, yeah, I get it. I mean, it's been pretty negative. I can't wait to get to the game. Monday, it'll be all positive again because the Lions are going to win this weekend. And it'll flip. It's how it always is. It's the overreactions. It's like fans and also just media locally here. I mean, they're just 1 minute they're chanting Jared Goff's name, and then all of a sudden they hear Jared Goff stinks.
They want him gone.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But,
it's one of the crazier things that, like, when all this is going down, like, you lose one football game. Like, you're 1-1. Even if you go 1-2, it's like you're 1-2. There are 14 or 15 or more games left in the season. And, like, it's really not that big of a deal. Jared Goff said today, like, he was like, they asked him about the pressure, and he's like, listen, like, when we step back into the Allen Park and in the training facility on Monday, like, we don't even care about the game. That we don't care we lost. Like externally, everyone's freaking out. Internally, it was like we literally move on. Whether it's a win or a loss, come Monday, we're on to the next week. We do not care. So it's like I feel like I know we're not playing, and a lot of our jobs are to talk about it. But there's the point to where it's like, all right, come on, like let's stop just being, I don't know, what are the negative Nancy's about this thing. Let's move on. And like, this is a really good football team at the end of the day.
Hell yeah, they are, Boone. And again, I'm going to get into my impact players today. Iafrate's impact players of the week. That's at 8:30. So I don't want to give anything away, but some players that I think will make a big impact this week and will be very integral to the Lions' success. So that'll be at 8:30. John, of course, joins closer to 9. He'll be on for about half the show. So we'll get to kick it with John. He was at Allen Park today. So, he got to speak to Dan Campbell. Dan had some quotes, which were very interesting. And at 8:15, we're going to get into Jack Campbell because, Dan, you got to reiterate his confidence level in Jack Campbell. But I want to have a real conversation about him because it seems like some people are looking at his development as like, oh, that's not good. But then like there's a lot of people that look at it like, oh, Jack's been Jack. It's been fine. So we'll have that conversation at 8:15 because there is a real chance that Anzalone does not play this week.
Yeah.
So Jack's going to be wearing the green dot, and he's going to be asked to do a lot more against a very tough, gritty team, but more specifically, a very mobile quarterback. Like a dude that, he's short, but he's so quick, and he's probably one of the most annoying quarterbacks for defensive lines to play against, and linebackers, of course.
Especially with the struggle in the past. It's going to be interesting.
Especially the Lions. Yeah, exactly. So, we'll get to all that. But I want to show this. You guys hear what Bill Belichick said, by the way?
Yeah.
It's
unbelievable.
The GOAT. But this is what he said. And shout out to Detroit Times, put this out, the Twitter account here. Bill Belichick says Matt Patricia was the successor to the Detroit Lions offensive line. Bill said, I think that the Lions have built a really good offensive line for the quarterback, and they couldn't get a lot of production in the red area last week, but that's something that Matt Patricia started, and now they're kind of getting the fruits of the labor from him. I think this was on Pat.
I mean, I deserve credit for building this offensive line as much as
Well, you know what I will say? He got the wrong guy. Like, I don't think it's
Bob Quinn.
Bob Quinn, at least for Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker. Like, I don't know where Matt Patricia kind of comes into this equation. One thing for Bob Quinn, dude, say what you want about the guy. He's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, look at his draft picks. He got the offensive line. At least he got two pillars correct. But everything, I don't know why. Maybe that's just like the Patriot thing. I don't know. They hit on offensive linemen. But I don't know what Matt Patricia – I think that was Bill looking at Matt Patricia's reputation and being like, hey, I'm going to throw him a bone here. Like, I'm going to throw him a little bone here, Hey.
There's a thing with Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia, and this is going – and I love Bill. Like, Bill Belichick's Bill Belichick. He's the greatest to ever do it. So you can't, like, hate on him when it comes to football. But at the end of the day, this guy, like, what are we – you're just going to keep throwing bones, and you're just going to keep doing what you're doing for Matt Patricia. Like, this guy just is doing everything he can to keep Matt Patricia relevant. Like, he's given him every job in the world. He's brought Matt Patricia into media now. Like, dude, move on with Matt. Quit giving this guy a platform. It's unbelievable. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, what did Matt Patricia do to this team? Nothing. The best thing he did was him leaving this town. Like, that is literally the best thing Matt Patricia ever did for the Detroit Lions organization was leave Detroit so we can get Dan Campbell. It's unbelievable. Like, Bill Belichick, he should have to write a statement and come back out and say that he was wrong. Like, honestly, like, for goodness sake, man, it's unbelievable. It's embarrassing. Like, that's an embarrassing statement.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
Does?
No, I'm listen. I mean, I've already stated my opinion on it. It's crazy. I mean, again, Bob Quinn, say what you want. Even Jonah Jackson. I saw someone in the chat mention Jonah Jackson. I forgot about Jonah Jackson. He drafted Jonah as well. Bob Quinn did, not Matt Patricia, of course. Mm-hmm. But like anytime you're mentioning Matt Patricia in credit, that's where you lose me.
Anything. It could be even defensively. Anything.
Yeah, I don't know. No credit, no extra credit. Like nothing. Doesn't get nothing at all. But yeah, I mean, I had to at least address that. Marcus Davenport also back at practice, fellas. Good news. Marcus Davenport back at practice. Could see some Davenport this weekend. Hey, could I interest you? Could I interest you? Half a sack in game one. He sets a return this week. I mean, they did fine without him, but never thought I'd be saying that. It's nice to have Davenport back. That's where I'm at right now through 2 weeks. I'm actually kind of excited to see Davenport this week.
Mm-hmm. Especially with DJ Reader back. You look at how good Hutchinson was last week, 4.5 sacks. Hopefully that Hutch doesn't have to be put in a position. Jesus Christ, couldn't talk there for a second. Put in a position where he has to go out there and get 4.5 sacks every week. Now, obviously, you'd love it if he could, but you don't want Aiden Hutchinson getting that 4.5 sacks because it's probably showing that the rest of the defensive line isn't doing much consistently. I want to see Marcus Davenport get after Kyler Murray because, like we said, Kyler Murray, once he gets banged up, that's when he's going to start throwing interceptions. He's a very talented quarterback, but he's not a very fundamentally disciplined quarterback where he's not going to just take safe, conservative shots. He's going to take shots down the field. The more you can try to get him cannot talk right now, disgruntled in the pocket, then you're going to be leading the game with a W.
Hey, I'm just going to say this. The defensive line is bad. This is the top 5 defensive line in the NFL already. Now you add Marcus Davenport. I think it's perfect time for him to come back too. Going up against a guy like Kyler Murray, guys, like setting the edge, Like, you know what I mean? Like not letting people not letting him get out of the pocket. You have your best two edge rushers. You have your best interior guys now. And then you have Levi O as kind of that fifth man coming in. Like this is going to be a legit defensive line going into Sunday. And it's the perfect time for it because you have struggled so much with a mobile quarterback. So I think it's big time. I mean, I don't know how healthy he's going to be. He was full practice today, which is good time, like big news. But I do think that it's going to be a massive, massive factor on Sunday. I can't wait to see it. Like this is going to be the full off or defensive line for the first time in the first 3 weeks. We have not seen this yet.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point too. You'll be able to finally see the DJ Reader and Davenport, like the two free agents they brought in. You saw DJ Reader's impact. I mean, we know what he does, even though he was in 30 plays. The thing I'm curious about this week for Hutch, now, and I don't want to say like now he's arrived, but 4.5 sacks. You have to think that the Cardinals with a backup tackle, they're going to probably throw 2 guys at him. But that makes it interesting for the rest because Davenport will have one-on-ones. But then it's like you got to at least throw another guy at DJ Reader because he's just going to take up space. Like I'm very curious, just like a side note to watch how the Cardinals handle Aiden this week because the Bucs tried to like chip him a little bit, but like it never worked. Like they just couldn't. And they put their backup tackle on an island and he got obliterated. So I don't know. The Cardinals got a backup. That's what I've been seeing and hearing. They better find a way because Hutch, I mean, he's looking to get another couple sacks this week. He continue.
I mean, this defensive line, give us 5 again this week. Go out there and get another 5 or something.
Hutch gets like 3 of them things of the 5.
Oh, and then you guys will switch up on TJ Watt and jump on the Hutch train. That's what's true.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, 3 sacks would be
Take
great.
a side.
I mean, yeah, 7.5 sacks. No gatekeeping. It doesn't mean we can't root.
No, I can gatekeep all I want.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't have to apply to everybody.
Yeah, I have to add. I'm gonna add. So I'll check in with you next time I'm root for Hutch. I'll check in with you.
You can root for him, but when we're talking defensive player of the year, that's when you do have to check in.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I did say TJ Watt yesterday, and I'm standing by that. I'm standing by that. Now another player to watch, Jack Campbell. Dan Campbell said it, and he's very confident that Jack Campbell can handle not having Anzalone step in, be the guy. I'll say this. Before the season, he was my, number 1 breakout player over J-Mo. Now, it seems like J-Mo by far is like the breakout player, which not like I didn't expect him to break out, but I didn't know he'd have this type of production this early.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell's been fine. He's been good. But that's not a bad thing. It's just he didn't take the significant jump I expected him to. I think this week, fellas, is a perfect opportunity for Jack Campbell to go out there and really show not only the organization, but the fans that he is your future green dot. He is your future linebacker 1 because Anzalone, not that he's old, but there'll be a time where he does take that role on fully. And this to me is like a, maybe not the test, maybe not the exam. Can we give him a quiz? This is like a quiz this week. Just see how he passes this one, especially against this offense for the Cardinals, who seem to be playing very, very well. And James Conner, very underrated running back. Kyler Murray, we know who he is with his legs. So Jack Campbell, do I think he can do it? Yes. I'm not saying this is like everything. Like if he plays bad, it's like, oh, he's a bust. But I'm not going to lie to you. If he struggles this week, I will be sitting there going, damn. Like I was too early on the Jack Campbell breakout conversation. So I'm willing to see how this week plays out. It's a huge week for Jack. Huge.
I am with you on that because it's interesting. Like I have to like his snap counts pulled up here, him versus Anzo. And like last week, obviously Anzalone gets hurt. He plays 40 snaps last week, and Jack only played in 35. And then week 1, Jack played in 44 and Anzo played in 78. So like a significant amount more. So like if Anzo's out, Jack Campbell's role goes up that much more. And hey, I will admit, Jeff, I was with you. I was one of the ones that said, hey, Jack Campbell's going to have a breakout year. He's going by the end of the season, he's going to be above Alex Anzalone, 120, 130 tackles total. And it's just not coming to fruition. And it's because guys like Malcolm Rodriguez have stepped up and he's been rotating with him. What's his name? Derek Barnes as well is getting a lot of reps. So like Jack hasn't even been getting to punch the snaps that we've expected. Like he had 35 snaps last week defensively. Like that's not that crazy. That's not a lot. And that's a guy that we're expecting this week to have a green dot. I'm interested to see, like, this is a big week for a guy like him. Like to show, like, can he hold that defense? Can he hold that leadership role? Like that's the biggest thing. AG has been so big in saying, "Oh, Jack's been a leader at camp." That's one thing we've challenged him is to talk, be a leader. When you get the green dot, you're gonna have to be a leader. Like this could be it on Sunday. Like I don't think like if Anzo's out today with concussion, like what's concussion protocol in the NFL? It's not looking really good for Alex Anzalone to be playing on Sunday. Like he could let's see tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Let's see what happens Friday. And then Saturday, that final report comes out. You're going to know pretty quick whether or not Jack Campbell's going to have that green dot. And it's going to be a massive game for him. And it's going to tell a lot whether or not he's ready to go. And that, Jeff, our whole thing here and on him taking that step forward, we're going to know. Sunday, we find out. Like, that is big, especially going up against a guy like Kyler Murray to where he's going to be running the ball all over you as well. And Jack's going to have to figure out a way to help stop that. This is a big week for him, especially when it's a little bit of a must win and to some people's points to where people feel like the Lions have to win this game. It is a massive week for Jack Campbell. I'm excited. I think he takes it on head on because I think there was a game last season. I guess I can go back and check. I'm pretty sure there was a game last season where Jack did have the green dot and Anzo was out. It was towards the end of the year when Anzo had that injury. I don't know exactly the week it was. I think it was week 9 maybe. No, week 9 was their bye week. I guess I can go figure it out, and you could probably see his snap count go up significantly.
Yeah, I think what's most important, too, is you guys talk about Kyler Murray and James Conner, but we talk about Jack Campbell and why he was the 18th overall pick is because what he can do in pass coverage. And a guy like Trey McBride, especially with Kyler Murray, that was his main target last year. Jack Campbell's going to have his work cut out for him through the air and on the ground because Trey McBride, he's not that big of imposing of a blocker, but he's a very athletic tight end, and I think they're going to be focused on stopping him, obviously, because you have Marvin Harrison, but it's kind of one of those situations where I don't think it's to the talent level of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin or Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, but I think Marvin Harrison's going to find a way to be making Marvin Harrison type of plays. If you can limit Trey McBride, and the main guys that are going to be doing that are probably Jack Campbell, and then Brian Branch. But at the most of the time, I'd rather have Jack Campbell on there because that's what you drafted him to do. That's what the coaches should want to see out of him. Can he go to toe-to-toe with some of the better receiving tight ends in the NFL? Because stopping James Conner is a must. But I think he has so much help around him with that defensive line that I think it's just by default. Like, he's not going to be having much work. But James Conner is also a very good receiving back. So he has to play a clean game because if the Cardinals get over the middle offensively, like, they're going to be putting up points. Because through the middle, that's like they're a dominant team. Like they want to run the ball. They want to get over the middle and take a shot to Marvin Harrison. The guy who can make the number one impact outside of Aiden Hutchinson is Jack Campbell there.
Yeah, I mean, for Jack, and we know what he was coming out of college, what he could do in pass coverage, his athleticism. I mean, he tested off the charts athletically. His ability to move side to side, like that's something that I personally was excited for. Like, yeah, we know how big he is. He's great against the run. He even has, in last year, he played some Sam. He showed some of that pass rush ability. Like he's got tools in his game. Now, the big thing, the one thing that I want personally expect from Jack is taking that next step in pass coverage. Like this year, it's only been 4 targets, but all 4 targets thrown at Jack have been caught. He's allowing 100% completion percentage, roughly almost 100 passer rating. So, like, in Anzalone, he's obviously better in coverage. He's been in the league longer, and he's shown that. I know when he first got to Detroit, people were, like, already tossing him out, and then he got really good, and now he's been solid. But for Jack, that is something that, this week, Trey McBride, like, it's not going to get easier. Like, you're going to be guarding Trey McBride. He's a really good tight end. That's what I want to see out of Jack, not him against the run, not his tackling. Like, we know the dude can tackle. It's just not allowing the reception before you tackle. Like, that's where I'm looking to see out of Jack personally, is that pass coverage that I was advertised of him coming out. And maybe it's too early. Maybe we're expecting this in year 2. But damn, year 3 then. But it's got to come eventually. If you can't cover in the National Football League in 2024, like that's what you ask your linebackers to do. At least a guy like Jack, you're going to ask him to cover and be good and be solid in coverage, especially in a pass-happy league. Like this league, and now the NFL is offensive. Obviously, it favors offense, so it's already hard enough for defensive players. But that's what the league's looking for. You're looking for corners who can cover. and you're looking for linebackers who can go sideline to sideline like Jack can, but also cover. Like that's just what you expect out of them. So that's what I hope we see more of this week is that upside in pass coverage. That's what I'm waiting on.
I want to say this too. I do think that is something to keep an eye on because some people the other day were like, "Oh, Booner, the play that Chris Godwin scored, like that wasn't." I went back and watched it. It wasn't on Jack, but if you go watch some other plays, like Jack, definitely there was times he struggles in coverage, and I think as you get better into the NFL, and again, like Jeff, like last year, he really wasn't in coverage a ton. He was, but not as much as
not too much.
Yeah, not as like versus New Orleans. I think last year he was because he kind of was in the Anzo role. So like he's gonna have to figure this thing out. Like it's just like one of these situations. Where it's like just man up on Sunday. Like you have to. Like you just have to step up and play football. That's all it comes down to. Like you just have to because this is a must-win game for the Lions. You have to go out there and win this football game on the road. You can't leave this game and be like, oh, one of the reasons we lost is because Jack Campbell struggled on defense and the defense looked out of sync and you gave up 28 points. Like that can't be the reason you lose this football game. And I don't think it's going to be. Like I think Jack's going to take on the challenge. Like he has shown everyone nothing but being able to take challenges on. Like that New Orleans game last year, he stepped up and he had a good game. I think I just went and looked. It was his second-rated game, PFF grade in the whole season. So like he went out there and performed when it got put on his back. Like he had to go out there and do it, and he did it. So I'm expecting it. Dan, I think, has confidence in him. I think AG has confidence in him. I'm going to probably look at his over-under 4 tackles, and I might take the over. I don't know what it's at, but I might take the over and the over-under for the tackles for Jack Campbell. I feel like that hits. If there is no Anzo. Right now, you probably get a bit lower because there's no word on Anzo.
Say, my God. 4 is easy money. Easy money.
No. Who said 4? Is it 4?
Is that what you just said?
You just said it 4. Oh, okay. That's what I thought I heard too. I don't know what it's at. I think he gets double-digit tackles.
No, I said before Alex Anzalone gets listed as out.
No, yeah, you could probably get it. I don't know what it is. It probably is like, I mean, he's probably averaging like 7 or 6 to 8 tackles a game at this point. I mean, he had a couple. I don't know. I have to double check what he had the last 2 games.
They don't even have it out yet. They don't even want to. They don't want to mess with it. They don't.
Oh no, he hasn't even averaged that. Sorry. He has 6 to 8 tackles. Well, he had 6. Yeah, 6 last week. Total tackles 7 the prior week. So I think he gets tackles. Yeah, no Anzalone. So it's something to keep an eye on. I went and looked at Roquan's career. I know it's a crazy comp, but I'm just for like the best linebacker.
Whoa.
And Roquan in his career, he's given up around between 70 to 80% balls thrown his way or caught, which is like kind of extreme. But you watch Roquan, like it's not all about the percentage. It's just how it looks, I guess. And you see Roquan can cover. So, but like Jack, he's at 100% this year. Like last year, I think he was at like 80 or something like that. So that's something that as he grows, he'll get better at. It's just, I hope we see that jump this week. Maybe he's just ready to step into that role. I mean, we'll find out.
83.3 last year.
Yeah, and Roquan isn't exactly the best comparison because he's not really a cover guy, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, that's like the best linebacker. I'm trying to think of like who's a good cover linebacker.
Fred Warner. That dude's insane. Bobby Wagner in his prime.
You know what? Let me look up his because that's actually I mean, I was gonna do like Luke Kuechly, but that's not fair. I mean,
Levante David would be a good one. Levante David's good in coverage.
So okay, Fred. Well, Fred's not even fair. I mean,
that's not even.
He's like 60 to 70, but like that's on like rarely any target. Like he's barely getting targeted. So they just avoid him. But you get the point. Go out there. He's athletic. He's got the ability. Just has to execute it. Speaking of impact players, I got some this week, and maybe it pertains to some of the players we talked about. All right. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to discuss who I expect to have a big impact this week. You guys tell me at the end you disagree or anyone you want to add. We could talk about some different players you want to add to that list, but we'll start with the first player. And this player we did talk about this week, and it's a guy that I think needs to have a big impact this week, given that this specific guy's record against this specific team is pretty darn good, and that is Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is my first impact player to watch because of how he's played this season, what his record is against Arizona, and really the expectation that he'll bounce back this week. And I think this defense for Arizona, although they They got some interesting pieces. Buda Baker, we know what he is as a safety. That's someone that I think could easily, if you let him, he could wreck a game. But Jared Goff is who I'm going to be watching this week to play a clean game. Let's keep his pass attempts under 30. That's the thing I've been kind of talking about all week. Keep his pass attempts under 30. Let's play efficient. Let's get back to really finding this offense's identity. Run the football. And if Jared Goff is in that scenario, I think this week we know what I think if you look at his record after losses, it's pretty darn good. And he plays pretty damn well after those types of performances. So I think on Sunday, something to watch will absolutely be Jared Goff. Now, the next player I have here also does pertain to some things we've talked about. And I got some players on both sides of the ball. This guy, and I think for this week, you're looking for him to bounce back, and you're looking for this guy, Booner. You'll like this because you talked about it yesterday. That player is Detroit Lions tight end Sam Laporta. I think this week, Sam Laporta, I know the first 2 weeks, more of a grace period for his return. He's been injured. We know this. He missed training camp, coming back from a hamstring injury. Dan spoke about it today, kind of cleared it up and basically was like, yeah, Sam Laporta, he'll be fine. This offense will be fine. Jared Goff also mentioned it, which we'll get into. A lot of mouths to feed. There's going to be times where Sam Laporta doesn't get targeted as much as you'd like him to. Same with Amon-Ra, probably less so Amon-Ra, but same with J-Mo, all of these guys. A lot of mouths to feed. I think this week, given you look at the Arizona Cardinals, you look at their linebackers, you give me a name. All right, I think Sam Laporta goes out there this week and shows, oh, here's Sam Laporta. Go get 5-6 catches, 60 to 80 yards. Go have a productive week. Maybe he gets in the end zone. He finds pay dirt this week.
Pay dirt,
good old pay dirt. I think Sam Laporta is someone that this week you have to pay attention to because I think given how he started, I think this is where you start getting him ready. And he even said, he very humble, came out today, hey, it's okay. If I don't get targeted, it's fine. No, Sam, you will be targeted, and you will have a game on Sunday. I do believe that. Now, the next player I have on here. So 2 offensive players on this list, Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, 2 guys I expect to have a big, big game on Sunday. The next guy I have is someone that I think has to, especially given the circumstances with the guy he plays alongside, and that is Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell this week, a big impact player to watch, given what his role will be, given what our expectations of him are. And I think this matchup is going to be very tough for him, not for him, but for the defense, given how Kyler Murray can move, even at his small size, his small stature, very quick. Jack Campbell, we know what he is athletically. I think this is a good opportunity for him to go out there, not only get double-digit tackles without Anzo, but just be where the ball is. All right, and that's what Anzalone is. Every time you look at where the ball is, Anzalone's there. Jack Campbell's right by him. I think this week you'll see that with Jack Campbell. He'll be the one taking the ball carrier down. So Jack Campbell is the third guy I think this week will have a big day. Jared Goff, well, I already discussed it. Very important for him to bounce back. Sam Laporta, given how this year's trended for him, I think this week, big game for him to bounce back. And, of course, Jack Campbell, thinking about how his role will increase this week and what he needs to do in order to get his season kind of trending in the right direction. Not that he's been bad, but let's see it in a bigger role. Those are my impact players. What do you guys think?
Listen, I think every single one's spot on. And honestly, I think the best one of them all is Jared Goff. And I know it's an obvious one. I'll just stick with it this whole time. Jared Goff, I had called him to be an MVP winner this year or be in the conversation. And through 2 weeks, as much as people want to say they hate him, he struggled. And we've seen him struggle throughout his career at times. And like last year, a 3-game stretch with Baltimore, I think, and then like the Bears, the Packers, there was like a 3-game stretch where he struggled. And that's what's happening right now. And it sucks because it's the start of the year. But guess what? He started to struggle in year 1-1. I think this is one of those games, and he talked about it today a little bit in his press conference, where he's just like, listen, I just have to just calm down, make the right throws. And that's one thing that he hasn't been doing is not making the right throws, trying to overcompensate, trying to go out there and do a little too much to where it hurts him. and he's not taking care of the ball because of it. And again, today he said the same. He's like, I need to take care of the ball. I need to, we can't go backwards in a possession, and I can't turn the ball over. And that's just a matter of the whole situation. Because Jeff, I say it all the time. You lost a turnover battle last week. I'm pretty sure 2-1, or 2-1, I believe.
Yep.
Guess what? You lose a turnover battle, you'll lose the game. I don't care if you double their yards. That shows it right there. So Jared knows he needs to step up, and he understands it. And kind of he's the first one to say, all right, let's move on and let's go. I think, honestly, and this might be too big of a take for some people. People can't wrap it around their head. I think he might be one of the best players in the NFL to not get as rattled. Now, I'm not saying in a game, because in games he does get rattled a bit, you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, in like a season, to where he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL that can just bounce back and be like, I really don't care. Because he's a vet. He's been doing it for 6, 7, 8 years in the NFL, and he knows what it is to lose. He knows what it is to win. And he knows, dude, if you lose a game, who cares? You could just turn this thing around and go win another game, and none of it matters. So I think he's got that on. I think he has that with him. Sam Laporta, I think is perfect. We have a video later on at the end of the show about Sam Laporta, and this guy, one of the shocking things to me is he understands the situation he's in with all these weapons. And he's like, dude, I don't even care if I touch the rock. And we sit up here and we're like, Sam Laporta needs to touch it. I think he does still. That doesn't change my opinion. But, Jeff, I'm with you on this. Sam Laporta needs to get involved on Sunday somehow, some way. You don't want to force it to him, and you don't want to, but you still need to find a way to get him open and put him in situations to be a playmaker. Because, listen, it's not that I'm like, you have to give it to Sam Laporta because we all like Sam Laporta, and he's an all-pro player. He can make plays. He's a yards after catch guy. Put the ball in his hands and let him go make a play. That's why he's an all-pro tight end. If you have an all-pro tight end and you're like, well, we have J-Mo now, we don't need – come on. You have an all-pro tight end, one of the best in the entire NFL. Find a way to get the ball in his hands. That makes your offense better. It's not selfishly for me. This is getting your offense better. And then we just talked about Jack Campbell, so I love that one, Jeff. I like the Jack Campbell one.
Yeah, I think Booner cooked there. The only thing I would add on is it's huge for Sam Laporta to have a big week this week, because if you look at Arizona, like you said, Jeff, you look at Arizona's linebacking core, you're talking about Mac Wilson, you're talking about Kaiser White and Justin Jones and the likes of a bunch of Jags, respectfully. NFL players would beat the dog shit out of me. But you talk about Sam Laporta compared to those guys, that's a situation where he should really dominate. And if you look at Arizona, what they've done to tight ends, or going up against Buffalo week 1, they shut down Dalton Kincaid. And I know Colby Parkinson in that LA Rams offense, that wasn't much to put up a fight with all the injuries they're going through. But this is a situation where the Cardinals, they've kind of shut down tight ends so far. Jonathan Gannon, really good defensive mind. They have really good safeties with Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker. So if Sam Laporta is able to get those 50, 60, 70 yards of performance, 4 or 5 catches and a touchdown like we used to saw last year, that's going to take this game into a dramatic effect, because I think we all can agree that Amon-Ra is going to be Amon-Ra. I don't think there's anybody on that defense that is slowing down this run game if the Detroit Lions commit to it. So if Sam Laporta can continue to be that extra layer like he was last season, that's going to lead to this offense just opening up completely, and that's where I think the game can really break open for the Lions offensively.
I mean, guys, I got 2 things to add with this Sam Laporta and Jared Goff too. The interesting thing, and I mentioned it, Jared Goff after losses, he plays well. Last year when they lost in Chicago, he came back home against Denver. You know what happened? 5 touchdowns, 5 of them things, 5 touchdown passes. You even go to the Dallas game, which was BS, but they lost. Week after, over 300 yards, 2 TDs, no picks. You go earlier, the loss to Baltimore. They played the Raiders. He almost had 300 yards. He had a pick, but still, and he did throw the ball 37 times, by the way, but they won. So, yeah, after a loss, he typically plays well. And you go to Sam Laporta, I think it's a great point you made, Klotz. So far this year, the Cardinals have allowed 46 yards to tight ends.
I think it's the 5th at least. They've been locking him down so far.
Yeah, Kincaid, 2 targets, 1 catch, 11 yards. Dawson Knox, 2 targets, 1 catch, 23 yards. And then they got good old Colby Parkinson, who I just picked up in fantasy. One target, 1 catch, 2 yards. So they've done really well against tight ends. That's why it's just a key matchup to watch this week for Sam Laporta, because he was open against the Bucs. They just didn't get him involved. Obviously, they have a lot of weapons they were feeding. But Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, certainly, just for those reasons, it's you got to watch out for them. And then, of course, like Jack Campbell, I don't really need to add anything. It's just given the role, he's someone that you have to watch. So, yeah, I mean, is there anyone else you guys think got left off this list? Maybe some honorable mentions?
I think an impact player, at least this is just in my mind, I think a big one that's going to be this week is Brian Branch. And I had him last week a little bit in the sense, but I do think like a Brian Branch, and I don't know his role on Sunday, but again, he's going to be all over the field and a running quarterback who's going to get in space at times. I feel like you're going to see Brian Branch putting a couple of hits on Kyler Murray. And I think as well with a guy like Marvin Harrison over time, like I think Brian Branch is going to set the tone for the secondary. That's how you're going to win this football game. I do think this Lions offense is going to figure this thing out, put points up. But if you can hold this Cardinals team to under 20 points this week, and it starts to me in the back with Brian Branch, especially if Anzo's off the field. You have Hutch up front, and you have Brian Branch, who's going to, in my opinion, outside of the green dot, he's going to be the vocal guy back there. And he's going to be absolutely massive. And it's easy just put it in there. And that's kind of my mindset. Like if Anzo's off, Brian Branch is kind of that next voice in the secondary, especially when you have Marvin Harrison Jr. out there, James Conner coming out of the backfield, McBride at the tight end. You have Kyler Murray who's going to be around the ball. Like this can be an explosive offense. And I think Brian Branch is one of those guys who it's like, all right, you need to have a big week. Like again, I might say this might be repetitive, but I did say last week, I said take Brian Branch interception. I think this is a week where it's like a Brian Branch interception because he's going to be all over the field. You saw week 1. He was literally everywhere. He had 3 different chances to get an interception, a step late. Last week, you saw he was there again, except guess what? He wasn't a step late, and he was able to get to it. I think this week, again, like Brian Branch is going to be all over the field. I think he's going to be a big-time impact player. I like Brian Branch, honestly. Muted Klotzy.
How that happened. But either way, I think the guy that we talked about last week, it really didn't show up as much as we expected. Aleem McNeil. I mean, we want to talk about shutting down Kyler Murray, the most problematic pressure for a quarterback, especially an undersized quarterback who's got to read the defense. It's pressure straight up the center. That makes Kyler Murray immediately have to take a step left. With Marcus Davenport coming back, that's huge. Take a step right. Aiden Hutchinson right there, that's huge as well. Especially if we talk about no Alex Anzalone, the more pressure and the more you can dominate the middle of the field in the run and the pass game. We've seen Aleem McNeil shut down a run game with Saquon Barkley, and he's had other big games. But you want to talk about the Lions being kind of a little bit of a lull, not defensively, but offensively they have been. But the defense, we're asking to step it up. And we thought a key part of this defense going into the season was going to be Aleem McNeil. Now, he hasn't been playing awful. He's been playing all right. But this is a man that everybody expected to go out and play for a contract. And I don't think he's really done that. I know it's early in the season. But if there's a game on the road, let's set a tone. No Alex Anzalone. He's the tone setter outside of Aiden Hutchinson and on his defense. Go prove why you want to get paid, because there's a guy right next to you in Levi Onwuzurike that I think up to this point in the season has played better, has produced more. Again, that's not saying Aleem hasn't done anything, but if Aleem wants to go out there and be a big part of this team for the long-term future and be making a lot of money while doing it, these are the games you got to step up against. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, those are guys that have just caused problems for the Detroit Lions defense for Aaron Glenn's whole career here. Now, there hasn't been a lot of talent. Secondary is now improved. I think overall the secondary has an advantage on this wide receiver core. So if Aleem McNeil can put some pressure on there outside of Aiden Hutchinson, they really don't have a path to the game because, like we said, James Conner, I don't think he's going to do much on the ground. So if Aleem McNeil steps up in a big way, it's going to make life hell for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and I get like both are great. I like both, and I will say this, but just quickly about Aleem. We talked about this yesterday. I think Aleem's his impact in the run game is always there, but that's not what Aleem, like, that's not all he can do. He's not just a run stuffer. Like, you're looking at him as more of a pass rusher. And Aiden talked about this today, how sacks are kind of, it's a stat that can be hard sometimes to measure because it's all about kind of a timing thing. But yeah, like, you're expecting Aleem this week, like, go get a sack, man. Gotta get, like, especially his role with Kyler. Even if he might not get a sack, but at least make Kyler, he's going to move out the pocket, set up someone else like he's been doing. Like, that's fine too.
That's where
he has impact.
I'm a little off to like the, I get like Aleem, like last year we had the 4.5 or 5 and we were expecting him to take the jump. I want him to get a sack. I just think like he is opening up so much. Like I went back and watched a couple of the sacks that they had the other night, and Aleem's has two guys, and it's just blowing up the offensive line, and it's opening it up for Levi O, and it's opening it up for Hutch, and those are the guys that are getting in there. So like the sacks to me is just like, that's a stat sheet. Like if you were just like not watching the football game and you looked at the stat sheet and you turned put ESPN on and you looked at the box score, you're like, oh, Aleem must have had a bad game. But then you go back and watch the film and see the 5 sacks that they had, and Aleem's in there for I think 4 of the 5, and he's just dominating that offensive line, and they have to notice him. I think the first one, Aleem and DJ Reader are on the field, and DJ Reader had a double team, and Aleem blew his guy up, and it was just Hutch one-on-one. And it's like the next 4, it's the same thing with Aleem, and DJ Reader I think was off the field, but Aleem's the one taking on the double team, and he's blowing that up. And it's like, that's where it's like, I'm not like going to be like, oh my gosh, if Aleem goes 4 games in and without a sack, like this is a disaster. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Like I think what he's been doing, honestly, I think it's like what you want him to do. Like like he has been dominating in his role. And it's like, yeah, you would love for Aleem to get some sacks and get some credit towards what he's doing. But like the way Hutch is playing and the way Levi's getting off the ball and he's getting to the quarterback quicker than Aleem, like it's opening up everything. And I don't think it's as big of a deal as we're like it should be. And especially when you add Marcus Davenport, like Davenport's going to get to the quarterback quicker than Aleem now. And now Aleem has the double team. Like I just think it's going to open up a lot more for those outside guys.
No, and I didn't want to make it sound like I'm bashing Aleem, but I think we all expected a step from Aleem so far this year. Again, this is not saying that he's playing bad, but I think we've seen Aleem be able to disrupt double teams and do the things that he's doing right now in the past. And I'm just saying, I think we need to start, if he wants to get the contract and meet the expectations, we all said Aleem's a guy that can go get anywhere between 7 and 10 sacks. I'm not saying that's not going to happen because we're only 2 weeks into the season, but I just think what Aleem's doing right now, he's been doing consistently. And I think it's, again, very good player. But I think if he wants to meet the expectations, this is a game where if he steps up, it'll make a huge impact.
Maybe though
against a quarterback like Kyler.
And this could easily be the thing. Maybe we all put too much into him getting sacks, and that was never going to be the case. And just because he had 4.5 last year, all of a sudden we're like, oh, he's going to double that because he's going to take a jump. Like, no, like maybe the 4.5, like he's going to still take a jump and dominate the defensive line. It's just the sacks aren't going to be there because you have other guys around him now. Like maybe that's, at least in my mind, maybe we overcompensated the sacks, thinking that he was going to. And I was one of the ones to be like, oh, Justin Matabuke, like he's going to turn into that. But like Justin Matabuke doesn't really have Aiden Hutchinson next to him, who's a top 3 pass rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, like he's in a whole nother stratosphere than Aleem Matabuke. Like
so it's just to me it's a little different. And you have Levi O that's been coming up. So I don't think it's like, I don't know. I get it because I was one of the ones that said 7 to 10 sacks or whatever it was, but maybe like we overcompensated and we don't really need that out of him. Like and he doesn't need to do that to even take a step.
I mean, we just had the convo yesterday about Levi's sack total, remember? And 2 of you said fact. He'll have over 6.5.
Sticks, yeah. 6.5.
So like Levi's kind of stepping into that pass rush role as a defensive tackle. They had some snap. I mean, they had a lot of snaps because DJ only played like 30, but it was Levi and Aleem playing together. And like Aleem's playing that DJ Reader, like the nose tackle role, like that's what. So he's playing. I get it. Like, and I get what you're saying, Klotz. It's not like he's playing bad. It's just you're curious this week, man. Go right. I want to see it. I do, and we will see it. But I'm curious. It's every week we're gonna have that. Like, is it this week where he just wrecks a game? Like he has like a sack. You could see it, like he's constantly there because he did set up Aiden a lot. He's going to set up guys. So I'm curious. And Brian Branch, by the way, I want to add this. And Easy put it in the chat. They're definitely going to have him cover Trey McBride. Like that would be a matchup that I think would be excellent. You're not going to put Jack on him. Jack just hasn't really been the pass coverage guy that maybe this early that we've expected him to be. But Brian Branch, perfect to cover Trey McBride. Like I think he could put Trey McBride in a body bag, at least put him in a jail cell, at least limit him, get like 3 catches, 30 yards or something. I mean, he won't be Trey McBride, I don't think, this week. So that's why it's good to have Brian Branch playing safety. So that's another one. Honestly, I was thinking about adding real quick before we get John on, whoever guards Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know. Carlton Davis, throw him on there because he's going to have a hell of a task this week. Like, I think it would put probably Terry on. Who's the wide receiver 2 over there?
Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch.
Yeah, but
Trying to
is
think of, like,
Dortch
wide
like the slot guy? Is he like?
So, yeah, Dortch will be. That's probably like who Meek will be on, and Terrion will be on like Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson might even be banged up for real. I'd have to see.
Is Michael Wilson?
Not
Yeah,
worried.
and he's a guy that has one catch on the years for a touchdown though. But it was
Not
like
worried.
the first touchdown of the season.
So-
Zach Pascal. Don't sleep on him.
Oh, Zach.
Not
Pascal?
worried.
Yeah, no. That's why I'm saying like they had Marvin Harrison, but the secondary, honestly, even if Marvin Harrison does have 80 to 90 yards, I don't think he's gonna have the 2 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns like he did last week.
I'm
The
starting
Rams
to convince.
is depleted.
I'm starting
But-
to convince myself the Lions win by like 2 touchdowns. I don't know what it. I don't know. I did like this offense. Like what James Conner stop the run, which they do very well, and then stop Marvin Harrison Jr. Now what?
Yeah, I got you.
Now what?
I
now
know,
what?
but I
And
just
go
think
score a lot of points.
That's where
I'm
the
starting to get a good feeling. I'm starting to feel really. Hey, I'm feeling good here. I'm feeling good. I love it. This is a good Wednesday for me. It's hump day. I'm starting to get over that loss. I'm starting to get over it. I'm getting back on the right side here. Huh? No?
No. What were you going to say? What were you going to say, Klotz? You were going to say something, right? A second ago.
What was I saying? I don't remember.
But you were, but I get, but I'm with. I don't know if the blowout. I'm curious. I don't want to put it in the stratosphere, like kind of put that energy out there, like blowout. But it could get ugly. I don't know. It could get. I think it could. Hey, Cardinals. They've been playing some good football. Maybe it's that trend where the Cardinals blow out the Rams, who are injury riddled, and then they face the Lions, and it's like a little bit of a wake up call. Lions are pissed off. Yeah. It's just going to be harder. I think they're going to shut down James Conner. I'm just curious how they handle Marvin Harrison Jr. And I know he's a rookie, but that's like the thing I'm looking at. Like I think that's the matchup to watch. It's like don't let him get loose, please. That dude had $130 in the first quarter.
They love letting wide receiver ones go off on them. And people thought that was just a thing last year. And after week 1, I was like, somehow, some way, it's still a thing. And then next week, Chris Godwin just 120 or whatever he did. It's like.
Too.
They love just letting at least one wide receiver a week just go get 100. Like other wide receivers sometimes might look at this. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because sometimes, like you see the last 2 weeks, 20, 21 points, you're giving up right now in the first 2 weeks. So you're still like, you're fine. But some receivers are like, all right, I'm about to eat today. Like Marvin Harrison's probably like, all right, here we go. 150.
Yeah, well, I hope Carlton, we need you, Carlton.
We need something out of that, man. We need something out of the safe. Hold Marvin Harrison to 50, and I'm happy. I walk out of Sunday night very happy.
Yeah, I know a guy who could hold him to 50. That's John Maakaron. I mean, you put John out there. John, even at his age, I think John could cover him. I think John's got it in him. He was at Allen Park asking some tough questions. It was great. We're gonna have him on, join the fellas like he does every single Wednesday. You guys know what time it is. Please welcome Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated's own and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. And again, as always, this interview is brought to you guys by BetUS. Please welcome to the show our good friend, Mr. John Maakaron. John, how you doing, my man?
Man, kind of a bummer to talk about a loss, but another opportunity for redemption this weekend on the road at Arizona. And I think I might even be taller than Kyler Murray. So you got an opportunity to lay the smackdown on a quarterback that did some things against the Rams. My God, they had an offensive explosion, right? But what I'm drinking today after a loss, a little bit down, I go to the good old ice cold Coors Light. Whenever you're down and out, cold Coors Light gets the job done, man. I got a couple here. Looking forward to the conversation. Man, at the same time, maybe mix in some Tigers. Here come them Tigers, man. They kind of have been young and dumb doing their thing, and it's great. I just have been enjoying the Detroit sports scene. But hopefully the Detroit Lions get their offensive, get their shit together offensively because, my God, it's been disappointing the first couple of weeks.
I mean, John, we did a segment right before you joined about just impact players. And I do it every single Wednesday, guys, that I'm looking forward to seeing this week. And I'll start it off with the quarterback, most important position. And the thing that frustrated me so much, John, last week is it seems like it kept saying, like, well, the game plan was to throw the football, which I completely understand. But they took it to a whole nother level. 55 pass attempts, John, is just not acceptable. I think Jared's like 1 in 7, 11 passing touchdowns to 13 interceptions when he throws the ball 50 or more times. And that's not just Jared. That's around the NFL. No quarterback, probably besides Mahomes, can have success throwing the ball that much. So this week, I think a fair game plan, keep his pass attempts under 30. What was your thoughts on just that and what to expect this week? Kind of getting back to the Lions' identity, running the football, establishing play action, so on and so forth.
Well, I don't want to start no controversy here on Crunch Time, but if you're paying a quarterback $53 million, maybe you would expect him to step his ass up and be able to handle it. But look, all you got to ask yourself is why did I ask Dan Campbell directly, why are you throwing the football 55 times? Well, the answer is the more you do that, the more one-dimensional this offense is, or any offense, the worse off it is. Too predictable. Ben Johnson clearly in this situation got out-schemed by Todd Bowles and the Bucs defense. And it just happens. It's the third time. Ben Johnson clearly did not have his best play calling day. Jared Goff, his first 2 games based on PFF grades, worst in his tenure in Motown. So, look, opportunities galore to rebound, and it just hasn't been good enough. Clearly, Jared Goff knows it. That's the Goff that everybody complained about from the Rams that Sean McVay said, get the heck out of here. We don't want that guy. But hopefully, with Sam Laporta getting healthier week by week, another week of Tim Patrick learning the offense and getting into the groove and running the right break when Goff expects him to be in instead of going out, you hope that miscommunication clears itself up. No doubt about it. I think everybody was like, wait a minute. We all just saw the offensive line bully the Los Angeles Rams. Well, guys, there's another reason to drink. The offensive line stunk it up. The interior, guys, Frank Ragnow did not look good. He got beat up a little bit. And you hate to say it because you don't see it too often. Frank Ragnow did not have his best performance, and it caused, when they did try to run it, 2nd and long, 3rd and long. And so, unfortunately, the execution of the running game wasn't there. It's surprising. Yes, they need to execute better, and collectively, the offensive line and Ben Johnson need to execute at a higher level. And I do think they're going to tighten the ship. No doubt about it, because if they don't, Arizona's going to boat race them.
Hey, Doc, I want to throw this out there, the whole Alex Anzalone situation. And I know it's a weird situation going on because he was off the practice. He was out of practice today with the concussion. What does the protocol look like for that? And, like, what should we be looking for this week to see if Anzal will play? And then if he doesn't play, and I think I could be wrong. I think it was you that asked the question about Jack Campbell. Could be wrong. I apologize if I am, but I think I heard your voice. What are your thoughts on Jack Campbell stepping in? Do you think he can fill that role and actually go out there and make a difference in this Lions defense and kind of continue this thing that this defense has going?
Yes, it was myself that asked.
I knew it. Let's go, Doc.
It was me because I had a story. Listen, first and foremost, I want to say the joy of this job. Had an opportunity today, had an in-depth conversation with Jack Campbell one-on-one. As everybody was talking to Goff, I still have to go back and listen to what Goff said. I mean, pretty much clearly he probably said without me even hearing a word, well, we're confident. We have no issues. We're going to bounce back. No problem. We're built to sustain everything. There's going to be no issues, like all that kind of nonsense. I chose, when Goff was talking today, again, to talk to somebody else. I talked to Jack Campbell, and he's ready. He's ready to be able to handle the green dot if necessary. He's had the opportunity last year when Anzalone missed, when they played the Saints. So this linebacking core is pretty solid with Derek Barnes, Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Neiman, and Jalen Reeves-Maben. They'll be okay. But if it's a long-term injury, if it's a situation where Anzalone's brain injury, he's currently in the concussion protocol. If it lasts for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, you might start to see some struggles there in terms of teams maybe trying to test the middle. But I think this linebacking core has grown together, and Kelvin Shepard has done a good job prepping everybody to do a lot of different things. So, and don't discount Rodrigo. Maybe this is an opportunity for him to get some reps. But Jack Campbell, check it out on Detroit Lions on SI. You can hear I used most of the conversation that we had. He's like, I'm ready to go. He's handled it before. He's done well in the rush and against the pass. So everybody's confident in him, and so am I. I think he's ready to handle it and maybe even showcase why, if Anzalone's time is coming to an end this year or next year, Jack Campbell can step in and give everybody confidence that he's got the right mindset. I just love talking to him. We can talk defense, we can talk ball, and he gives me the respect that I deserve, and we have a good time chatting. I talked for about 5-6 minutes, and I always enjoy. I just enjoy having the chance to talk to him. And I talked to Penei Sewell, Those two guys, I think, like me the most. Maybe some others don't, but the two guys that like the DOC, Penei Sewell, never turned me down for a chat, and Jack Campbell regularly will talk defense with the DOC. And that's a good thing because he's the future, and I love talking ball with him. I think he's ready. So no concerns. The concern defensively, if you're going to go in that direction, Tyrion Arnold's a little handsy, man, and he's getting whatever the reason is, some of it not deserved, but he's got to start sending some love and some beers and some whatever he's got to do to these officials so they stop dropping the flag on him because he's not being able to play his physical style from Alabama. Little too handsy, little too aggressive at the NFL level, and we'll see how this finger injury plays out on Thursday. He didn't practice Wednesday, but you need a little bit of a jump from Tyrion Arnold. Not a big jump, but he's got to stop with the penalties because they're costly. And at the same token, you kind of want to see a little bit more. The tackling is great. The other stuff is good, but he's just got to be a little bit better with not taking some penalties. And unfortunately, if you saw the film, the Godwin touchdown is a little bit on TA in regards to. It was a great call from the Bucs, but a little bit of at fault from TA letting that Godwin be that open.
We were just talking about it, Doc. Sticking with the secondary, you look at this Arizona offense, you look at Kyler Murray. I think the NFL has just been weird so far. Guys like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Derek Carr look like MVP candidates, and Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and a bunch of these star quarterbacks are struggling. But I think when you look at the secondary pound for pound with Arizona's wide receiver core, even if Terrion is playing a little banged up, Ennis a little banged up, I think this is a chance for the Lions secondary to actually go in there and make a statement because Marvin Harrison just had a huge week. But outside of them, Trey McBride is a tight end. I do respect him, but he hasn't been doing much. What do you think the secondary is going to look like this Sunday following what was a pretty good following Sunday against the Buccaneers when you look at Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? Chris Godwin went off. Baker only threw for about 185 yards. So what do you expect this Sunday from the secondary?
Yeah, Carlton Davis also didn't grade well PFF-wise. He did give up receptions based on the targets that came his way, but Mike Evans didn't really go off. So I look at it from the perspective of, look, you don't let Harrison beat you. And here's the the formula in my kind of estimation of how defense. You kind of saw the Buccaneers execute a little bit the game plan in terms of stifling the Lions in the red zone, but giving up all those yards. That's exactly what I would kind of presume. You let the Cardinals, if you can, keep them in front of you, no explosive plays. And if they get to the red zone, but you stop them to field goals, that's the key. And I think that the secondary is going to play a part. Look, Marvin Harrison is legit. So Carlton Davis is going to have another opportunity to limit a young cat, Tyrion Arnold as well. So I look at it from the perspective of give up a bunch of yards and limit them to field goals. And I do think they bounce back. Carlton Davis is a guy that is now going to get more comfortable week after week. And I did, looking at the film, the game plan was interesting against the Bucs. They played a lot of zone. I want to see, do they play man-to-man a little bit more? Do they test it out? Do they get a little bit more physical? It's just, it's tough. It's based on how these officials are going to call the game. But look, I just think that when you got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch back there, you have a little bit more comfort of help over the top. Maybe you give a little extra attention to Harrison and you make it so that really defensively, you make Kyler Murray one-dimensional. You let Connor kind of get rid of you limit the running game and you make it so that Kyler Murray's got to throw the ball. And I think he might turn the ball over. This is the key. I think that was the biggest thing that I didn't see in this game against the Bucs that you kind of have seen. Maybe that big turnover that would have changed the momentum a little bit in the Lions' favor. I think they get it this week.
Yeah, John, we talked about it too a little bit ago, but the Cardinals surprisingly being pretty good against tight ends. They've only allowed 46 yards on the year, and they faced Dalton Kincaid. The Rams, I mean, they don't really have a tight end. But Dalton Kincaid, they did kind of limit. Sam Laporta looking to have a bounce-back game. Your thoughts on just maybe this week being the game he arrives and gets back? I know he's been banged up, so it's taking a little longer. But also, not just the Sam Laporta thing, this offense, like it being more like J-Mo, and I had this conversation on this show. I always said it depends. Amon-Ra is going to get his. How do you feel about J-Mo or Sam Laporta? If you're higher on J-Mo, maybe he gets 1,000. If you're higher on Sam Laporta, maybe he gets 1,000. Right now, with how Sam Laporta's kind of looked catching up, John, seems like J-Mo's the one that's going to be the 1,000-yard guy. What do you think about the whole Sam Laporta thing and how the offenses look so far without him?
Yeah, and just real fast to Easy's point, how would he know if Jack Campbell wasn't ready? kind of Alex Anzalone has been the guy that's kind of been the leader and has been dominant. So I do think that Jack can do a little bit more in coverage. And of course he can always improve moving forward and things like that with awareness and stuff. But remember, at the Mike spot, and I asked him directly, I said, a lot of people want to know what you got going on at the Mike spot. Like, what do you got to do? And he's like, you got to do everything. So you got so much going on in terms of reading and recognizing. And of course, at this level, guys, you got to also remember that second-year player learning the game, offenses at this point in time have abilities and using pre-snap motion to kind of disguise run plays versus pass play. It's so difficult on a whim to stop and move and be able to do things. So there's going to take an adjustment period. But I think that this game, if Campbell gets over 70%, you'll see more of an impact. He's good against the run, can still be better in coverage and things like that. So easy. Don't hate on Jack Campbell just yet. Wait till you see this game if he does get the opportunity a little bit more, and then we can have a little bit more of a sample size to discuss. Now, look, it is the $1 million question. How do you fix this offense? And Dan Campbell said, well, we didn't kind of involve Sam Laporta because there was a risk of injury, and if you have somebody and you give him 50% of the install and he gets hurt, now you're kind of SOL, you're screwed, and you're in a position where you don't have the primary target. So they've kind of eased him in a little bit. So I kind of understand that perspective. Now you hope that clearly Ben Johnson has to step it up in terms of his creative play calling, not running the ball right up the middle all the time, it was weird too with the routes. They were kind of bunched up at times. It just didn't seem as crisp as possible. So how do you fix this offense? First and foremost, the offensive line, it starts there. Those 5 guys got to rebound and make it so that Ben Johnson can – the reason why Ben Johnson kept calling the runs in overtime, they were getting 4 yards a clip. The reason why they stopped running against the Bucs is 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9. They just unfortunately got into it where the Lions figured out, well, it seems like the Bucs have taken away the run, and unfortunately Goff and the offense weren't able to overcome the challenge. But I do think that more balance, less passes from Jared Goff, and more David Montgomery as opposed to Jahmyr Gibbs at times. Pound the rock, establish the run, and then the screen game has to be a lot more creative. There were so many negative plays on the screens. It was crazy. The Bucs were right there ready to handle it. You got to be a little bit more creative in the passing game, out in the flats a little bit. You got to use Jahmyr Gibbs a little bit differently than the same old tired reps and runs that Ben Johnson used, because clearly the Buccaneers were jumping it and they knew what was coming pretty quickly. So you got to use pre-snap motion a little bit more to kind of tell Jared Goff if it's man versus zone. You got to be a little bit better in all areas. But yes, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think are going to carry the day. But running the football and the offensive line will be key this week. If they don't, guys, it could get out of hand pretty quickly. Kyler Murray was confident as all hell in what he was doing, and you hope that, the defensive line holds up, because for whatever reason, Aaron Glenn, we've talked about it, he gets a little upset, and so does Calvin Shepard. Everybody just thinks, well, you use a spy. They just have been hesitant to use a spy to limit Kyler Murray and other running quarterbacks. You don't want to see him scooting all over the place because he embarrassed the Rams defense.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, Doc, offensively, just kind of a little deeper into the offense. When it comes to the red zone, obviously the 1 for 7 wasn't ideal, and honestly, I went back last year. The most times they were in the red zone, I think the last 2 seasons with Ben Johnson was 6 times. What do you think is the problem with this whole red zone situation? I heard Ben say it's like a play here or there, or no, it wasn't Ben Johnson. I think it was Dan Campbell that said, hey, there's just a couple things here and there that we got to tweak. What are your thoughts on the whole red zone situation? Because if you score once in the red zone last week, you win the football game. 1 for 7. I mean, I would love to know in the last 10 years how many NFL teams went 1 for 7 and only lost by 1 possession when it came down to the end. So what are your thoughts on this whole red zone situation? Yeah,
well, first of all, cheers to your chat. Yes, Slappy, all good, man. Who doesn't? I mean, come on, man. Cheers to that. You made me smile, man. You distracted me. Let me say who doesn't? Let me say this. That red zone performance was god awful. You go back and watch, I'm like, oh my God, why am I watching this? Penalties, it was uncreative, and that's the time when you got to kind of outmatch your opposition. Because look, the NFL, and that's the dumbest thing people will say is, oh my God, they, respectfully, oh my God, they had so many yards, and that's a good telling sign. Listen, I told you guys that last week. Everybody wants to give up. Everybody does not want to give up an explosive play, so they'll let you. Literally, they'll let you have 5 yards in the secondary. They'll let you have it as long as they don't. They believe that once the space is condensed in the red zone, they'll limit the points and the touchdowns. Basically, the Buccaneers did better. They executed what the Lions typically do better than the Lions did. So in the red zone, first and foremost, there were a couple plays where you sit there and you go, man, you got literally Sam Laporta blocking here. First and foremost, if you want to score a touchdown in the end zone, you might need to throw the ball into the end zone. So they did with J-Mo. That didn't work, but they kind of went away from it. It just kind of seemed like the end zone scared the shit out of the Lions this week, and they just weren't able to execute at the highest level. This week, I think they'll get back to it. They'll throw the ball into the end zone with J-Mo and Amon-Ra and pound the rock a little bit more effectively, and maybe a couple draw plays or some inside handoffs that aren't directly into the middle of the teeth of the defensive line. And I do think that clearly Frank Ragnow is going to step it up. He's not going to play as bad as he did this last week. And I think that the two guys that really didn't play well, Glasgow and Frank Ragnow, on the film didn't shake out all that great. So I do think that they'll execute at a higher level and things will look a little bit smoother I think this week they're going to emphasize route running, crispness, and depth, and they're going to understand that, hey, that 1 for 7 is unheard of, like you said, with that many yards. It's statistical history to see that kind of incompetence in the red zone.
And something that was a bright spot on Sunday was the defense, in particular the defensive line. But a guy that you didn't hear called on the stat sheet or really on the call was Aleem McNeil. And I don't think he's played bad, but I just want to get what have you thought so far? You see Levi Onwuzurike has a sack on the season, 2 games with half a sack. We haven't seen Aleem McNeil get back there yet. What have you taken away so far from what he's done so far this season, Doc?
Yeah, no, I think that the benefit of DJ Reader is going to progressively allow Lee McNeil to continue his game. Clearly, the star of the show was Aiden Hutchinson and Levi the last couple of weeks. Davenport's going to hopefully trend in the right direction. But for Aleem McNeil, the great thing is that it allows him to be stout against the run, to be somebody that, along with DJ Reader, can really allow Derek Barnes and Jack Campbell to roam free and do their thing. I think he's been steady, and it's one of those things where he doesn't end up, he's always in the right situation. He's gap responsible. He's not, giving up too much in regards to battles inside the trenches. So good player, man. He's working hard, and I think he's going to benefit tremendously when DJ Reader ups his snap count. My goodness, you're just going to see more great things, and you'll start to see him light up the stat sheet a little bit more. It's one of those situations in which this week, man, the coverage was in the situation from the offensive line of the Buccaneers. They just, one of those situations in which they knew that they were shorthanded, and Aiden Hutchinson took advantage, and DJ Reader playing 25 snaps opened things up for Aiden. So, hey, now you have an opportunity again to potentially have some more impact with DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. To me, the highlight of the season so far has been the defensive line. They've come to deliver, and they've helped this defense do a lot of things. Clearly, a couple things against the Bucs defensively were the explosive plays. You limit that, you handle business. I think this defensive line, as the season goes on, is going to be the story of the league. I think they're going to be violent. They're going to be aggressive.
Love it.
You just look at it. Hutchinson, Levi, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, and Marcus Davenport, get the hell out of here. They're going to start making shirts. Easy, and you guys are going to start making shirts on this defensive line. Start thinking of some creative names.
Well, we need some nicknames. We need some nicknames for this defensive line.
Right? They need some violent nicknames to talk about these guys, because they're there to wreak havoc. And right now, as I finish this, it's the House of Hutch, and the rest of it, these guys will, once they get in gear and follow the leader. Oh my God, man!
What about the heavyweights? How about that name for them? I'm playing.
Yeah, easy in the chat. Hey, man. Doc, we already have a shirt coming out. Hey, the number one focus, we're gonna have a shirt that says "Run the Ball," so that way fans can buy it, go to the stadium, and when Ben looks into the stands, just like a little glance, he just sees 100, 150, 300, 1,000 people with just "Run the Ball" shirts, just to remind him what matters here. And I'll ask you, 1-1, 2 weeks so far. What's been the most surprising thing? You can give me one good, one bad through 2 weeks so far. The one surprising thing that you didn't expect, or maybe you did.
Yeah, let's see. In terms of the offense, I thought they would click a little bit more. I am surprised clearly about Sam Laporta. I did think that he would kind of have a historical year like George Kittle, kind of would start getting into that Travis Kelce mode where all the balls go to him and he just takes over. So it's been a slow start for him. The offense in general, just not lighting it up to that degree. I look at it from the perspective of I'm very impressed with the defense. I think they've done enough to win. That side of the ball is spectacular. I think that they've done enough through 2 games to be very much respectable. The offensive line week 1 was good enough. Week 2, kind of a little bit. It's a little bit surprising for them to have a bad game. I think that, it takes time. I think maybe the best way to put it is every year we all expect that teams will just kind of start the year with the chemistry and go. But you lost Jonah Jackson and Josh Reynolds, and the offense kind of doesn't look as smooth. So it's a transition period. It's not going to be as great, but, you look at it and you say, well, how the hell are the Saints dropping dimes? I know they're playing shitty defenses, but they got a new coordinator. They got Derek Carr back there, and I was jealous, though. I did watch the Saints game twice, and I was like, man, guys, if you want to see what the future could look like, if Jahmyr Gibbs turns into Alvin Kamara, just watch what Alvin Kamara did last week. What the hell? Insane. It was special. I was like, all I kept thinking was, if this is Jahmyr Gibbs, if this is what the Lions could get, it's not there yet. But if that's what's on the horizon in 2-3 years, my God. But the offensive line struggling was a little bit concerning against the Buccaneers. And also, too, I guess to say it is, I wouldn't expect our coaches to get out-schemed by somebody else. But, you recognize that it was the 3rd time the Buccaneers had played the Lions. They kind of knew what was there. And I just thought that Todd Bowles worked Ben Johnson this week.
Yeah, I had Alvin Kamara in fantasy. Still lost. You can go, Boone.
That's tough. Hey, Doc, this is what I want you to do for the people, and I'm interested to see where you're at with this. I've been trying to calm the people down for the last 2 days on the show. I would like to see where you're just at. The Lions are 1-1. Long season ahead. I'm sure you are all over the internet, like on Twitter. You're very locked in, so I'm sure you've seen a lot of the Jared Goff hate. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell hate. We saw the report that I actually saw it from you first. That it got put out that fans are sending Dan Campbell to his house hate mail after a week 2 loss, and he has to sell his house, and he is moving now in the middle of the season. At that, like, this man has to pack up his bags in the middle of the season. Can you just calm this fan base down a little bit, Doc? You're in the building. I just want you to calm the people down.
All right. Well, first of all, you made a mistake. In terms of you don't assume what the DOC ever is going to say. First of all, I'm 2 beers in.
Calm the people down, Doc. That's what I want.
Listen, I'm feeling lightheaded. I feel good. Now, first and foremost, it's one of those things, the beauty of the English language. Yes, Dan Campbell. And I told Christian, I said, you did an A- story, but it's one of those things where, yes, Dan Campbell put his house on the market because people were showing up to his houses after losses last year. It didn't happen just now. It's impossible.
That's
one
still
loss,
crazy.
2 days later, you put your house up. He's already built a palatial estate. You can go through the comments at Detroit Podcast. Somebody posted the photo. But it is a true story. Dan Campbell has said that he had too many people found out where he lived. They looked him up, and they started showing up. So it was for security reasons. People knew where he was. He's already moved. He's now put his old house on the market because you can't have 2 mortgages. You want the money. But it did happen, but it's not recent. Okay, now, I am a sports podcaster who has spent 10 years riling up the emotions, talking to the fans, talking about the game back and forth. And first and foremost, okay, now I'm talking as the semi-drunk psychologist here. You got to be a narcissist at a high level to tell the fans how to act. First of all, there's 4 or 5 million local Detroit fans. You think that a gal going on Twitter or Booner going, calm down, guys, calm down. You think that actually works? No. Here's what I say. However you feel that you need to express yourself, you express yourself. If you want to take a beer and slam it at your TV and be like, what the fuck are you doing, Jared Goff? They just paid you $53 million. Or if you want to say, gosh darn it, Dan Campbell, you're doing all these commercials. Now we're losing. I don't give a flying fuck. I love that. I love the passion of the fans. And actually, I was lighting up the Twitter pages with stupid ass comments before Woodward Sports was. So that kind of shit, I didn't go to that level now at 45, but I love the passion of the fan base. Absolutely. If you want to roll and be mad and break microphones and break your television, by all means, you react however the hell you want, because emotions in sports is what it's about. I'm not sitting on my hands fucking ever. Now, if I'm not in the media, I'm the kind of fan that would be like, what the fuck, Ben Johnson? This is not NFL quality. So my personal reaction, not the trained professional journalist, the guy that you'd have a beer with at the bar, here's what I would say. That's not fucking Super Bowl level. What the fuck? This is the Detroit Lions that are expected to win the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. They don't look like that. Now, I'm not going to extrapolate that beyond Sunday, but through the first 2 weeks, that's not Super Bowl caliber play. That's what I tweeted. And I don't give a shit how people react. I think it's great. Sports fans are allowed to react. Why the fuck would I tell people to calm down? Calm down for what? They just lost the game. Winners win. Winners execute. So when I do, guys, here's how I operate.
Come on, Doc.
Okay, I'm only.
You're not going 20-0 in a season. There's no reason for one.
No shit, Sherlock.
There's no reason for one game to be like, the season's over. Jared Goff's over. Get the man off his deal. We just paid. Come on, Doc.
Those reactions that people have are those that are nervous that you paid somebody $53 million. That when you're asked to call upon him to throw 55 times, he didn't put the team on his back for one game this week. And most of the time, when you look at it, that's not what you want. But that's not how this team was built. Now, that's what I would love to pay, someone $60 million and he just put the team on his back when the offense is not playing good and zing the football over the place. You can say that. But when you say calm down for what? You know what? In a week, people will respond to what they see against the Cardinals. But at this point in time, this team should be more scrutinized. This is and Dan Campbell said it. Hey, I don't want to fall back into bad habits, but Dan Campbell's making excuses. He's like, well, it might take 4 weeks for us to get into rhythm. No, you need to be. There are teams that are scoring 40 points in a week. You guys are playing it tight and close to the vest with a bunch of talent, with more talent than some of these teams. So to me, it's the height of narcissism to tell any fan how to act. You want to be mad? Be mad. You want to be livid and throw out hot takes on Twitter? Throw out whatever you want. My opinion has always been, that's the thesis of the Twitter page, and you can see it here. If I think it, I tend to say it. So why would you tell the fan base to calm down? Sports is passion. Sports is about, like, if I was an athlete, I would walk in there after a loss and be breaking things, and people would be like, what the hell? And just a glimpse into my life, I have a great month of August. Great. I enjoy a beer for half an hour, and I'm like, all right, how am I going to top September? How am I going to compete with all these other guys who are getting more credit than me? Look, guys, 4 new guys started podcasts. So to me, I look at it like, however you get down, and stop telling people how to act. It's the stupidest thing ever. You have sites dedicated.
That's crazy.
You literally have sites
dedicated
to calming the fan base down. It's a stupid concept.
Hey, Doc, I love you.
No,
the people need to calm down. It's week 2 of the NFL season. They do. It's week 2 of the NFL season. Doc, I love you.
Calm down.
Doc, it's week. So, like, the people who are saying the season's over, the random people out there that have them as a 10% chance to make the play. Like, what are we doing here? Calm down. Like, you can have your. Well, Doc, people can have their opinions all they want, but guess what? I can have my opinion and tell you to sit down and calm down. The Detroit Lions are going to be in the playoffs with 12 or 11 wins, and they're going to be just fine. You see what I'm saying?
Booner, you'll be saying that for the next 20 years.
They will do it every year.
Exactly. So let the people spew what they spew, because guess what?
And I'll call those people out.
When they win,
it's like you're calling me out.
No, listen, Booner, when they win, they're like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're winning the Super Bowl. We're the best thing ever. Let's pay Jared Goff $53 million. The wild bipolar swings of fans is fanatics.
Exactly. So they need to calm down.
Let them be fanatics. It's fun.
They can be fanatics, but let's not be dumb fanatics. Let's be smart fanatics.
Bro, listen.
Realistic
listen,
fanatic.
I don't want to keep shouting out your competition, but why did 200,000 people read a tweet that was really never going to happen? Because
it was the
people wanna
dumbest
talk
tweet of
about
all
it.
time. That was the worst tweet I've ever seen.
No.
Ever.
The guy did his job. No, it's not
and
the
I
worst
love
tweet.
and I love Travis. I text Travis the other day. That was the worst tweet ever.
Nope. No, it's not.
And I was mad at Travis.
It doesn't
And that
fit
was
the
the worst
narrative.
tweet of all time. Who's
No, it
tweeting
isn't.
out Hendon Hooker? That's the dumbest tweet
Hey,
of all time.
Okay,
We
wait.
have a quarterback.
I invite you on Detroit Lions Lowdown.
All right,
I wrote
whatever
that
you
story.
want,
I
I'm
asked
there,
him why
dog.
he posted it. Read the comments. About 15% of people want Hendon Hooker right now. What are you gonna
That's
do?
the dumbest thing in the world.
man,
That's Doc. That's the fan base. I don't care if you're a fanatic and a fanatic can have their say. I respect that. But I also will call you out and say how dumb you are and how bad of a fanatic you are for doing that. And when you know what? When the Lions win a Super Bowl, those same people with Jared Goff, they're not allowed to. Don't celebrate. Don't sell. No, don't. There's a difference between being a fanatic and being
The
a
gate
hater.
is closed, Pepe.
There's a
Okay,
difference from a
listen,
fanatic and a hater.
Booner,
There's a
Booner.
SOL and brand new Lions.
Booner, I want
If you
to
wanna
say
be
this
SOL,
respectfully.
go ahead.
I want to say this respectfully based on your fandom. You don't get any more bonus points for kissing Jared Goff's ass.
I don't, but I'm realistic.
You don't
But
get
Doc,
You don't
I'm
get any
realistic.
more. You're not a bigger fan than the hater. You're not a bigger fan than Travis. You may lick Jared Goff's balls and be like,
No. That's
You're
where
not
you're
a
wrong.
bigger-
I'm realistic.
Your fandom
Bring it
is
out,
not
Hendon
more
Hooker.
important than the crazy fans. Just because you're a
Doc.
positive Pete doesn't mean the other
Doc.
crazy person is not entitled to their opinion. They're out there. I'm sorry.
Bringing
You
up
can say
Hendon
it
Hooker is
for
not
20
realistic.
years.
That's
I've
just
been
clickbait.
screaming at the fans
That's
and
clickbait.
debating with them. They will not stop with hot takes. They
I
will
don't
not
care
stop
about
reacting.
Jared Goff.
You can think all you want,
I'm
but
not a
you are
golf
not
gobbler.
limiting the crazies. You can drink 50 million gallons of blue Kool-Aid until you piss blue. They're not gonna stop hating, bro. I'm sorry.
Dude, Doc, I don't care. Listen, the Hendon Hooker stuff, Doc, is not a take. It's not me not me
It is a
loving
take.
Jared Goff. It's clickbait. That
No,
is
it
not
isn't.
Hendon Hooker won't touch the field unless Jared Goff is injured for the next 2 years.
Yes.
We're week 2. That is the biggest clickbait piece of you know what I've ever seen in my life. That should not even be a topic. Doc, you know that's clickbait. Come on.
No, listen,
That's
it's not.
worse than that's worse than me calling out fans for going at the
You're-
team.
You're
That's
using
way
a
worse.
argument. It's a take that's not realistic to happen, but there
Not
are
at all.
right now, Booner. There are a lot of people that are waiting to spend $200 for a Hooker jersey. I'm sorry, that's the case. Deal with it.
And those
You can
those
dream
people are
high up.
SOL fans who don't care about the football team.
They're out there. They're allowed to be wrong, but I
That
don't
is
limit them. I don't
crazy.
care. I actually like to know who is thinking that. That I was surprised to read that many "we want Hooker" comments after week 2, but I enjoyed it. I said, that's not like
It's all the SOL fans coming out of the woodworks.
But who's to say in fantasy land? Who's to say you can't say if Hendon Hooker would have played one game against the Buccaneers? Who knows? Maybe they go 4 for 7 in the red zone. You don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
my
his
God.
mobility helps him win a game
All
for
right,
1 week.
Doc, come on, Doc. That's clickbait. That has
No, it
nothing.
isn't.
Hendon Hooker's not
That's
touching the
sports,
That
baby.
is
That's how it
unbelievable.
is.
That's not sports. That is not sports. That's
Now,
clickbait.
the sooner
know
you
it, Doc.
embrace it, the more successful you will
So
be.
as soon as- all right,
You're
Bill, all right,
one-sided.
time out.
You are
30 seconds.
one-sided
30
positive Pete.
seconds.
And I
As
say,
soon
I
as-
open the door for the whole nation, baby. Spew your
30
ignorance.
seconds.
Spew whatever you want. I don't limit nobody's opinion. Bring it all.
Doc, 30 seconds. As soon as I embrace that, is as soon as you embrace that, fans need to sit down and their opinions need to sit down and relax in week 2 of a football season. That's when we'll shake hands and break bread.
No, bro. You invite everybody. You don't close the door to any opinion in the name of the sport.
Okay, that's fair. Freedom of speech. But guess what, Doc? I'm calling you out if you have dumb speech. If your speech is dumb, you're going to hear from me. And I'm going to tell you to sit down, calm down, and stop talking about Hendon Hooker to all those people.
Okay, so your opinion is everybody calm down. My opinion is everybody rile up. This is the football team we all support. So when they fuck up, you should be mad. And you should
I
say
agree. 'Cause
whatever's on your heart.
Guess what I did on Monday? I called out Dan Campbell for 10 minutes and yelled at him. So, like, I do it too. But when the people say that the season's over and Jared Goff's done and Hendon Hooker, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in all of sports history. It's the worst of all time. And shout out Travis. I love Travis, but he knows it.
So clearly the chat knows I won. I whipped your ass in this argument.
I don't know. There's a lot of booners.
There's
a lot of booners.
Here. I whipped your ass in that argument.
Doc.
Down, and it's great.
That was unanimous decision.
Bro, you're like,
Booner.
oh, don't call. You're literally discussing things that are anti what we're doing.
All this
it was
brand new Lions fan, SOL fan,
and give bold takes, not to be like, calm down, everybody. The first thing the fans do. The first thing that Booner and this gal Natalie and Pride of Detroit is calm down, everybody, calm down. Everyone's like, okay,
it's
nobody's
week
gonna calm
2.
down.
Calm down. What are we doing? There are errors.
You're gonna tweet.
There are errors.
You're gonna tweet in 15 years. Everybody, calm down. The Lions.
I'm tweeting week 2.
Calm down. They're not calming down.
Doc, if we're in week 10 and this is happening, I would be on the front lines of being like, fans, go get them. Let's go. We need a better product. It's week 2. You're 1-1.
The capital.
We are 1-1. Like, this is nothing crazy. Like, yes, offensively need to be better. Defense. And I love Doc too. People are in the chat are hilarious. This is actually.
Hey, I got a poll up.
Listen, but Doc, it is week 2 of the NFL season. This Lions team's about to go win Sunday, and they're gonna, like last year. They lost and started 1-1. They start 1-1 last year, and guess what happened? They went on like a 4-game win streak, and they go to an NFC Championship game still. But guess what? I'm not allowed to tell the people after week 2 last year, after the Seahawks game, calm down. No, I am, because guess what? They're going to go win 4 straight.
Listen, man. All I'm going to say, you can say calm down till you're blue in the face. Fans don't act like that, and I don't tell them what to do. I love the hot takes. I love it all. Like I said, I grew up listening to talk radio, and I love Stephen A. Smith. I love Mike Francesa. I love all those guys, Mike the Mad Dog. I love all those crazy people that have a bold opinion and go with it. So when you tell people to be quiet and just be like, oh, we'll get them next week. That to me is boring, man. Hey, passion and opinion. Look, yes, you're allowed to speak on, hey, that take is crazy. It's a little too out there. I get it, but I love to hear it, man, because those are the best people that you can have a drink with at the bar when you got your crazy uncle being like, God dang that Goff. They paid him, and now look what happened. And you're just like, come on, man. You're a little bit.
I look over at Jeff, and I go, oh, uncle's crazy. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
The best take now is, look at Dan Campbell. He would coach better if he didn't do those Applebee's commercial. I laugh. I think it's ridiculous, but it's funny. It's great to hear. I think that, to me,
this poll is close, Doc.
This poll is close. A passionate sports fan base, and literally, that's the reason why I wrote that story. That's why I wrote that story about Travis. Is that journalists don't like any of this?
Well, that was just
you're a capital J journalist.
Calm
down.
No, Doc. I'm not. You're a capital J journalist, Doc. I'm not. You are.
Don't like emotion. You want to sit there and talk about the facts and talk about, well,
you're telling me I don't like emotion. You're the most emotional guy in the world.
Journalist. You don't like people spitting their wild takes all over the internet. I absolutely love it.
Doc.
I think that when people write about Hendon Hooker, you can laugh and debate. Look at all the people that were like, oh my God, that's crazy. That is sports, and that's the beauty of what
so you like you in, all right, Doc.
So
you like clickbait.
That I whooped your ass.
You like clickbait. I like realistic stuff. So I'm gonna be realistic and say this isn't a big deal. The Lions. You can have your opinion. I'm never in the world in my life freedom of speech. I don't know what in the whatever it is, freedom of speech, but I'm going to call your freedom of speech out. If people are thinking the Lions are done and the Lions are a bad football team and they put the Lions at 15 in their power rankings and they put Hendon Hooker out there, listen, Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions just went to an NFC Championship game. Jared Goff did that, not Hendon Hooker. And if you go out there and you're 1-1 and you're going to panic every time the Lions lose, they're going to lose again this year. Fun fact. Hey, everyone, guess what? The Lions will lose this year again. Yes, so if you're going to go off after every single time they lose and put a picture of Hendon Hooker out there and go, oh, what's happening with this football team? Come on. What are we doing?
Booner, you're doing then such a shitty job with your messaging that nobody's calming down. Nobody's calming down.
I'm trying to calm the people down. The people who are mad, guess what? Doc, you're a therapist. You calm people down. You calm people down. I sit there and I try and call the people down.
You, Pride of Detroit, Natalie, all the mics.
No,
of the world.
no. This
Listen,
is
show this to Mike
ridiculous.
Payton.
This
Show
is
this to Mike
ridiculous.
Payton.
I
respect
call
his
people
work.
out all the time.
He is the leader of the Calm Down tribe. Tell him, please
Because
stop.
that's all. It's
with
worth
the
the week
excuses.
2, Doc.
Play
We're
this
week
for him.
2.
Stop with the excuses. Nobody cares. You don't legislate the fans. You don't legislate shit. So
Doc,
don't assume
you like clickbait.
that
I like to
people
be honest.
are going to listen to you. You are not that relevant to change a single fly on the walls of opinion.
Oh, here we go.
That is what it is.
You like-
that is what
You
it
like
is.
clickbait. I liked honesty. That's what this is coming down to.
Listen, now I will say this, okay? Now we can get into the real fast thing. It's not clickbait when I spent 10 years building the audience and whatever
That's
I
fair.
write, they come to it. The reason why they come and follow me is I have the balls to say something. If I say something that I think people don't like, I don't give a shit. I say it because they know that the guy that you're talking to is the guy you can have a beer with, and I am my authentic self. That if I were to post a story, if it comes out, then that is my opinion. I am not clickbait. I am somebody that people will listen
the Hendon
to
Hooker stuff's
because
fine.
I have an opinion that is bold sometimes. I just wrote a story that said trade James Houston. And then I walked up to him today and said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I don't know if he kind of looked at me like he read it or didn't read it. It don't matter. Sports is about being authentic and saying it. There's going to be crazy takes. This is
nuts.
Sports community is about speaking your mind.
This is
The
Doc.
calm
This is
down
insane
crowd-
that you're acting like I don't
calm
allow
down
people
crowd
to
is a
speak
waste of
their
time.
mind.
It's
This
a
is
waste of
nuts.
time.
It's not.
What you should have did instead of saying calm down is drop some facts, go to PFF and write that. Well, Jared Goff is not.
Well, if you listen on Monday, I did.
4.3 grade against the and drop some facts. Calm
You
down.
gotta go back
means
to your
nothing.
show on Monday.
Calm down just reveals your narcissism and your belief that you can tell people what to
All
do,
right,
and
Doc.
that's all it is. You are believing that
All right,
your
Doc.
words have influence over millions of people. I don't believe that. I just know that if I say something, there's going to be some relevancy and people are going to read it. So it's
Doc, you need to
also
go back and
insulting
watch your show
when you
Monday
say-
before the
when you
narcissist
say
comment.
I'm a clickbait artist, it really is the height of ignorance because I've been doing it for 10 years and nobody can last in a clickbait world. They just would tune you out. I would not be here every week if you guys thought I was just speaking nonsense.
The Hendon
Just
Hooker
say it.
stuff.
'Cause I can say
The
a bunch
Hendon
of
Hooker
dumbass
stuff
shit
is the
and
biggest
triple
clickbait
your
of all
ratings.
time.
I think that you like having me because I have an opinion that is different than the
Agreed.
like
You have a great opinion,
than
Doc.
Mike Payton, than the Natalie fans of the world. I respect them. I like it. But my opinion is stop with the calm down. Nobody's listening to you. It's irrelevant.
People
Stop
are
with the calm
listening.
down.
You know what? You're right, Doc. Freak out. Lions aren't going to a Super Bowl.
Yes,
They're
freak
terrible.
out. Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. the
People
type
paid
of
$250
stuff that's getting
to
spewed.
watch an offense that couldn't score a touchdown for them.
Obviously, Sunday was a
supposed to
bad
be the
football
greatest
game.
thing on turf, and it ain't. So to me, the fan in me would say, "What the fuck is this out on the field?" Dan Campbell's been at this for 4 years. That offense looks like it does back in 2021. That's what the fan in me says. This offense looks terrible.
You know, you're right. This is a bad football team, Doc.
No, he's
I didn't
not.
So
say
you're,
that.
you're right. No, but
This offense
that's
does not
I can't say calm down. I
Inspire
can't,
me.
I can't be positive about the team. I get it. All right. I love Doc though.
Yeah, no. Listen,
Hey,
I
great
cannot
job,
listen,
fellas.
for all the people in the
Great
world.
job.
Insult my
Must-see
takes. You
TV.
can insult my appearance. You can't call me a clickbait artist
The
when
Hendon
someone
Hooker
clicks
stuff
on it.
is
Someone
obviously
clicked on
clickbait.
it. Someone
Exactly.
Start
That's
reading it.
exactly what clickbait is. You click on it.
No,
The Hendon
no,
Hooker
okay,
stuff
then go
for
do it.
sure.
Go do it. When I tell people if it's so easy to do, go do it. I say that
The
my
Hendon Hooker stuff
official
is
stance is I worked hard to build a loyal audience through dedication and knowledgeable takes for 6 years. And this is why a respectable company hired me, because I'm willing to give an opinion. Now, if you just want to minimize my opinion and call me a clickbait artist, it's funny because all that does is give me a little bit more motivation, but I'm not a clickbait artist. It's just not the case because people want to read what I write. That's my expertise. I know what people will engage with at the highest level of information. That's my expertise. But I'm not saying it because I don't believe it. I have printed every word for 6 years I believe in. Every single word. So your comment on calling me a clickbait artist is the height of really disrespect because
Doc, I'm not calling you clickbait artist from the jump.
you called me clickbait
The
artist.
Hendon Hooker tweet and all of the Hendon Hooker stuff is clickbait stuff. That's what
Bro,
I'm saying. I'm not saying you're clickbait, Doc.
I think you're underestimating how many people believe that Hendon Hooker can play better. With
I
this
think if
line
we put a
than
vote
Jared
that
Goff.
if that Hendon Hooker tweet, the
that
Hendon Hooker tweet is
article,
clickbait.
that belief is out there. And I would say out of 100 people you would ask that question to, 22 would say, yes, I want Hooker in the game.
Yeah,
I want to talk to those people.
But you're still forming engagement. That tweet was forming engagement. I'm not saying this is you, Doc. This is the Hendon Hooker stuff. Not you. I'm saying the Hendon Hooker stuff is clickbait stuff. Like that.
You're
type of
talking
stuff
about a
is clickbait.
specific tweet by another company.
Yes,
Yeah.
Doc. I'm talking about the Hendon Hooker stuff. That type of stuff is clickbait stuff after games.
And Mr. Detroit City,
people.
Mr. Detroit City, just learn about me. Type in my name on Google. I invite you. I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. Type in my name. So educate yourself and stop being an ignorant. Type in my name. Listen, I always say my stance has always been about myself. I'm just in the mix. I started a podcast. I knew I could be a guy that could work in the media. I could prove everybody wrong. And now every single media company in the world does a podcast. And that's just the joy I have is that the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, the M Lives, all the people starting their own websites, the Detroit News, all the blogs, they all have a podcast. Now, I knew that was going to be the case once I got into it in 2013. I fell in love with it. I knew it was when they told me it was non-traditional media and nobody would, follow this and it's not real. I just said, sure, watch this. So to me, in my opinion, I welcome all opinions into the farm. If they're crazy, then I just identify it as, that's not my style, my belief. But I like similarly to the tweet, I just said, man, you're trolling, keep it moving. I don't go, oh, calm down. No, the belief is out there. 20% of people believe that Hendon Hooker should be the starting quarterback. That's the case. I don't believe that. I don't believe he gives the team the best chance to win. But at the same token, if I'm paying out of my pocket $53 million, I ain't liking this check down shit. I'm like, throw this shit a little bit more. Hey, pick this team up when they're struggling. Hey, why is Tim Patrick breaking right when he's supposed to break left? That's on you. Get your shit together with your boys and make this offense score points. That's Jared Goff's job. At $53 million, your ass got to look like Tom Brady out there. So let's go. And he's got to start to progress that way. Otherwise, those Jared Goff chants are going to start to turn to heavy groans.
Yeah, you got. Hey, by the way, hey, hey.
I could just sit back and
unequivocally won the debate, but Booner,
I disagree.
Listen, in 5 years when you have me, I'm gonna be looking like, how's that calm down shit working for you, bro? Calm down.
I mean, we'll have two
Super
Bowls, so I'm pretty calm.
The calm down. Okay, I'm gonna say this to you from my perspective. If you keep saying calm down, it's just it becomes like piss in the wind. It means nothing because it will not do anything. Nobody in sports that is passionate will calm down when it comes to the football team. It doesn't work that way. Nobody calms down. So listen, you can say it. I respect it. I understand your idealistic nature of, hey, let's support the team. Let's all be on the same page. Let's not say wild ass shit. To me, the wild ass shit is something I look at and I go, okay, that's some wild ass shit. But I smile and I laugh and I dab them up. And all I'm saying is, the calm down crowd has been saying calm down since I dialed up Twitter for the first time in 2009.
I mean, Doc, you misunderstood the whole thing
you will say that shit till the day you die.
I don't think
it will have no meaning. Sports is about passion and letting it rip. If you have a take, say it, spread it.
And my take is it's week 2. Calm down.
Crazy take. If you've jumped off the bandwagon after week 2, so be it. But you're not a better fan than anybody else that has those hot takes. Everybody is all in the same boat wanting the Lions to win. It's just that some people are a little bit wilder with their emotion. They drink 4 of these instead of 2. Everybody's different. But if you're going to come out there every week they lose and be like,
well, I didn't say it every week.
Everybody calm down. Bro, the best
you're throwing
Twitter
words in my mouth now. I don't say it every week.
The best Twitter in the world is Lions Twitter during games, after games. All opinions are welcome in my mind. And it's whatever it is, wild take, cold take, whatever it may be, It's all great. The calm down crowd, it's true, is not going to get anywhere in the world of sports. So you can try it. You can be the leader of the calm down crowd. But I'm telling you, when I turn 50 and have that celebration at the bar with all those things that I would enjoy, I will tell you, nobody's calming down. Nobody's calming down.
You're completely, again, you're misunderstanding this whole thing here. I'm saying calm down in week 2. I don't say that.
Never calm down.
I don't.
1 week 2 preseason.
You just always want to be you always want to look at the negatives.
Calm down.
Now I just got it. You're just looking at. I get it. It's just like, hey, it's week 2. We could, if you watch the show Monday and Tuesday, I had a ton of negative things to say about Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, some of the defense, the offensive line, so everything, and I went at some people. But at the end of the day, this is week 2. If this was week 10, I promise you I wouldn't be sitting up here saying calm down. I'm not the leader of the calm down path. I don't say it week after week after week after week. It's week 2. The Lions are 1-1. There are things to fix. We can call those things out to fix, but guess what? It's week 2 of a 17-game season. It's easy to look at people and look at someone in the eye and say, you have 15 more games.
The chat, calm down every take you have. Calm down. Calm down. Every good take you have, calm down.
It's not. It's the people who want to end the season.
Everybody,
all right.
Let Booner learn. He's the captain of the calm down crowd. Just message him. Calm down. Calm down.
He's not.
Calm down. You're getting a little out of pocket with me. I don't like your tone. Calm down. I'm not happy. It's week 2. Calm down. It's not something that's gonna fly with our conversation. You need to calm down.
I
won.
I don't know.
You guys are fucking ridiculous.
Okay, now partly this debate was alcohol fueled, and I do believe in it, but I'm not gonna remember it probably in half an hour. But Booner, I have a lot of respect for you. And that's the number one thing I laugh at online is right away, calm down, everybody, calm down. It's like, no, you want to engage that kind of talk. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. It's wild. It's the best thing ever in sports. That's why I got into it, was to read and listen to stupid shit like that. I loved it. I love it. All of it, top to bottom. Wild takes, the jump on the bandwagon, the jump off the bandwagon. I love all of it. You should embrace it. Once you embrace it, you feel better, and you never have to tell people what to do. You just state your opinion and keep it moving, bro. That's my humble opinion. And sorry I had to whip you in the debate, but that's just.
I don't think you whipped me. I just think you talked a little more than me. That's about it. I love you, Doc.
And this is you know what, Doc? We appreciate you. This is just fucking electric. You know what? I'll speak and like I'll let you guys go at it. This is and this is why I appreciate you both, but. Booner, people look at Booner as the voice of reason. And I'm like you, Doc, more so, and I line with you where I'll say some shit, and sometimes Booner's got to be like, hey, Jeff, like, not calm down. That's like not, Booner doesn't tell me to calm down, but he'll be like, hey, look at it like this. And that's why we have that good relationship. And we have that, and we argue. But I do appreciate how Booner is, and I do appreciate the Doc because he comes on Wednesdays. And the motherfucker just brings it. So, hey, Doc, you enjoy your night. You keep up the great work. We'll catch you next Wednesday.
Keep being a legend, Doc.
Hopefully. No doubt. Booner, hey, we can yell and scream at each other. I have the utmost respect for what you do. I got the Lions 26-24. I think they rebound. I think Jake Bates might have the opportunity for a game winner. It's going to be close. Please contain Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray. Those are the two.
You got a score prediction?
Yep, 26-24 Lions. They go to 2-1. Just make sure Buda Baker doesn't light up Amon-Ra St. Brown. Make sure you handle business. Run the rock. Handle business. And, hey, if Jared Goff plays bad, do we talk about benching him? Find out next week on Punch on the POC.
Oh. What was that? What was that? What was that? What was that? Something I'm not allowed to call. But what was that?
And he's gone.
Dude, you fought.
I mean, what was that?
Hey, Trey, we appreciate you. It's a seriously, boys, funniest show and most entertaining show you've ever put out there. Trey, we appreciate you, man. That was fucking amazing. Booner, I love you, bro. You fucking, you and Doc.
I dominated that argument. I dominated that argument until the end. I had to sit back because I wasn't able to talk.
You were just.
I mean,
one.
I'm next time Doc's coming on, I'm gonna have a couple drinks, so I'm able to get some words in.
Yeah, well, and that's why you two are very different ends of like how you view. It's clear. I mean, you view it a certain way, and he views it a certain way. Doc, we know how Doc is. I mean, Doc will say whatever the fuck you want.
For sure.
And then so
there is just the side of things where it's like I will call people out. Like if someone's bad or something's bad, like I called Jared Goff out Monday and Dan Campbell out Monday. Like I'm not the calling. Like no, like they have to go out there and win Sunday. But it's not like, hey, you need to pack up the season and get Hendon Hooker on the field now. And that's where it's like, why don't we sit back? Like, if you're saying that, sit down, put a seatbelt on, and just enjoy the ride and shut up. Like, that's all it is.
Jog on.
I think
Doc
was saying he'll listen to those people. You just don't like it.
I'm not listening to – I don't listen. What is the thing? I don't listen to sheep. People who don't know what they're talking about, those are people the people who talk about Hendon Hooker are the people who don't know football. Those are the sheep of this industry. The people who bring up Hendon Hooker right now over the next few weeks are the people who don't know football. They're just in it to be on the opposite side of the right. Like it's I don't like it. Like, let's be honest. I mean, it'd be like me calling for like who else is having a bad. Like it'd be like me being like Sam Laporta's not getting touches. Give me Brock Wright. Like no, what? Are you that dumb? Like what are we doing here? Like you're not calling for like backups just because the guy's not playing well.
Yeah, no, I think the Hendon Hooker.
You know what? Hey, to Doc's point, maybe Doc should be talking about how Brock Wright should be tight end one. Huh, Doc? Go write an article about Brock Wright.
Doc's probably sitting there just like this motherfucker.
Well, with Sam Laporta being injured and banged up, it'd be best to keep him healthy until the bye week. Brock Wright.
Hey, don't calm down. There's serious issues with Sam Laporta. Maybe we should talk about Brock Wright or Shane Zylstra coming off the practice squad.
Oh, that's funny. Calm down at the end. We got to put that on a shirt, huh? I think that's got to be a shirt.
Booner, calm down.
Yeah, it's like.
Look, Doc. But then give me something, Doc. Let's hear what you would say. But you don't. But no one. Hey, there's no clickbait though. Do it without clickbait.
Yeah. Whoa. Don't go.
I'm not saying Doc's clickbait.
No,
I'm just saying these random Hendon Hooker things. Those I will call that out every time and say that's clickbait.
Yes. There you go. I think John thought you were calling him a clickbait. I would get offended. It's tough to hear that for sure.
The Hendon Hooker stuff's the biggest clickbait of all time.
Yeah, you know what? And that is
like, I don't care if 20% of the people want Hendon Hooker. Guess what? The reason you're posting that is so the 80% comment. Like, come on now, let's be honest here.
Yeah, it's engagement farming. I mean, you post a picture of Hendon Hooker,
easily, dude.
like that company that did that. Even though we love Travis. We knew what that was about. We knew what that was about. Yeah. That was engagement for. They knew. They did. There's no way Travis he posted that thing and people are gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, yeah." Like, he knew people were gonna get pissed off.
That was obvious.
Stand up.
It was so obvious. It's the biggest clickbait of all time. Like,
oh my God.
Like, let me go out there and tweet out Sione Vaki RB1. The run game wasn't great last week. Like, it's engagement farming, as Derek Lash says.
Sione Vaki.
That's literally what this is. Like, it's the dumbest thing of all time.
ETN, Travis single-handedly pissed
exactly.
off.
He pissed people off because he knew it was clickbait. It's not a bad thing. It's his job to form engagement. But me calling it clickbait isn't wrong.
Yeah, we need to calm down. We need that. We need that on a fucking shirt. Oh, jeez, man. You know what, dude? I mean, let's just get in the mailbag, dude. I mean, we've taken up the whole. That was a great, by the way. That was a great concept. Hey, Boone and John.
Boone.
Hey, Boone and John in the chat. Good fucking shit. That was great. All right. Yeah. Fire away the questions. Stay away from the. We got Diggity Dog says mailbag Booner 1. We do have the poll results.
It's just people just don't like me. There's a lot of people who don't like me. That's all it is.
I think it was like a 51-49. Like probably.
Hey, there's no way I lost that. I that was the biggest takedown.
Doc got the edge decision. It was a 29-28 win. It was a tough, close win. It's a tough, close win.
Hey, and the segment was sponsored by
decision.
Real American Beer.
Yeah, not that. Hey, sorry, hey, Doc.
Not
You know how
the
we are
weak
with the
Coors
new
Light that
sponsors?
Doc brought on.
Yeah, you get that piss water out of here. You drink some next to Real American Beer.
All gas water.
That'll get you right, Doc.
Get some hair on your chest, Doc. Drink some Real American beer.
Put down that girl beer, Doc. Put it down.
Oh, jeez. That is fucking hilarious. That's got to go everywhere. That's got to go everywhere.
That was classic.
Oh, wow. Mike Reed says mailbag, best fucking show ever. Booner won.
Shout out
Booner
Mike
Pat,
Reed,
LSD.
man.
Hey, that is shout out Mike Reed.
And again, and I know you guys sometimes, hey, Booner, like Tyler Chevet, I'm not policing fandom whatsoever. Like, that's the last thing I'm doing. But what I'm doing is my job, just like Doc's job is to call out what he sees. My job is to, if I feel like, hey, this is still a really good football team, there's a lot of people panicking, it's to hop on this mic and tell people, hey, it's not as big. Like, there are things that need to be fixed. Guess what? They're going to get fixed. Like, hey, like my job is to tell you what's wrong with it. How can they fix it? And will they do it? Yes. So there's no reason to overreact. That's why Pat McAfee, hey, guess what, guys? Hey, Doc, the best guy in the world that does this, guess what he does on Mondays? Overreaction Mondays, because so many people overreact. And guess what he does, Doc? He calms the people down and they talk about the overreaction.
Oh, man.
So, and then that's the number one guy in the world, the number one sports show in the world. Is he bad for telling people to calm down and talking about overreactions? No, that's part of fandom as well. Let's do some real mailbag questions now. I like the stream.
Hey, can we at least you did kind of gatekeep me with Hutch though? Can we be real here?
Well, that's like a good bit. I think it's a fun bit.
Okay, all right.
That's more so. Hey, you guys, I'll tell you guys this. You guys do need to start getting a feel for my bits and my whether or not. Maybe I have to like message you on the side and say bit just so you know. But there are definitely, and people like there are definitely some bits I have going. Like the Jags Colts thing, that's not me picking. You guys think like what Booner? You guys actually freak out like that's a bit. That's a bit. That gets I know that gets the fellas going. So that's just a nice little bit.
All right, let's we got a question. Derek Flash mailbag. Are you more surprised by defense or offense after week 2? I would say offense by far, because defense we knew would take a step, but
offense obviously in a bad way.
Yeah, offense got to score in the red zone. John chiming in says, I do not agree with them. I just love to hear them. he loves to hear the people's opinions. What if John just joined again?
Yeah, he's coming back in.
Calm down. Right to Boone.
He's slurring at this point.
Oh, jeez. Mike Reed, mailbag Lions win this weekend. I'll take that as a statement, Mike Reed. I like that.
I'm not gonna. If fans say they're gonna win, I'm gonna step back on that. I'm not gonna. Too much positivity. Too much positivity.
I like how he said "till you piss blue." He said "till you piss blue." That's a bar. It made me think about it. I was like, "Damn." Yeah. I mean, that's a bar.
He was dropping a couple of them.
Yeah.
He was sneaking them in.
Doc had a couple knockdowns. Booner had a couple knockdowns.
Booner was just eating them though. Pause. Just swinging right back. Clickbait artist.
Yeah, I hit a couple left and right hooks, and hey, I could have a couple hooks. Doc got super. Doc hit me with some personal hits. So I had him back with a couple personal hits, and he got offended. I was like, "Whoa, bro, this is a battle right now. This is come on now, Doc."
Boone he hit you with the narcissist elbow. You didn't like that.
Yeah,
Booner
he started coming at my credibilities. I didn't go at his as much, but I tried a little Hendon Hooker clickbait stuff, and
you gotta check
didn't like that. Didn't like that. I love the Doc too. He's in the chase. I love Booner. I love the Doc. I talk to the Doc probably like every other day, to be honest, personally.
Yeah.
I probably texted the Doc most out of anyone on our show.
And I honestly, and I will say this, like I respect the Doc because of his fearlessness to say whatever the fuck he wants. Like, and I remember we talked about that, Boone, a lot with like just being like, we're not credentialed, and then I actually like it that way because of I just think the restrictions that we wouldn't be able to voice our complete opinion without worrying about if it offends anyone. Yeah. does not give a single fuck, and that's what I love about that man, dude. He will say whatever he wants, and I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that because we've had Doc on. I mean, me and Adam used to have him on. He's just always been like that, just spitting fire as soon as he comes on. Dr. Clapping Cheeks, what a transition. Mailbag, over under 4.5 sacks for the team.
It's tough. I would probably go like 4.5 this week.
Ooh.
So Boone, you say under?
That's tough.
I'm gonna say under.
I want to just because 4.5 I think is a perfect number.
Just because Kyler
I'll
Murray,
say under.
Too mobile. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
under.
I agree. I think 4. Let's say 4 to 4.5.
I think it's over. I think with Marcus Davenport being back, because the thing is with Kyler Murray, he runs himself out of a lot of sacks, but he also runs himself into a lot of sacks. And I think if the Lions are able to control James Conner, that's going to make Kyler Murray drop back even more. Like I said, Marcus Davenport being back, we expect a bigger jump in snaps out of DJ Reader, Lee McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike, Aiden Hutchinson. So, and with the absence of Alex Anzalone, maybe that feels like Aaron Glenn. He wants to put more pressure on Kyler, try to make his decisions quicker. So maybe they even put more pressure on him this week than they would have with Alex Anzalone in there.
What about this one? Burning issues. Mailbag sociopath Jack over under 8.5 tackles. I'll go over. If no Anzo, I'm going over on that. I think he gets double-digit tackles.
Yeah, I go over.
I'm gonna go over as well. If Anzo plays under, but it would go over if he doesn't play.
Let's see. Mailbag Steve Lehman. Mailbag, has a certain former organization ever had freak-off parties? No. A prior employer, no, never. No, we're staying. No baby oil was ever at the establishment.
Definitely not 1,000 bottles either. That's crazy.
That's an absurd number. I mean, just an absurd number. Mike Reed, mailbag. When is Adam going to be on the show? God is legend. It's going to be a while. He's dealing with his own. He's dealing with. He's got a kid. He's living life. He's enjoying life. I mean, we talk to him all the time. I love that man. No, he does not work or work for us at all. Just in case someone, just in case someone's watching.
He will be back though. He will be back
one day. It might be a long time, but that man will be back one day.
Yeah, I hate even laughing. Actually, it's fucked up. To be honest.
No, it is. It's tough.
Yeah, we love that man. We'll go to war for him any day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just looking through these comments. Too many troll questions, dude. You guys are fucked up. There's too many of these troll questions I don't want to ask. Let's see this question. Crunch Time Vanzo is out. Do they run Trevor Nowatzki?
Boone?
Little A. SVSU.
I don't think, and I'm just going to be honest and shout out Trevor, man. Great person. But I don't know if he's going to get defensive snaps, is my mind, because he really hasn't. I haven't really seen him much. My guess is more so Rodrigo gets more snaps and he takes some of maybe Rodrigo's special teams snaps, or he's on special teams a little bit more. That's my guess. That's just me being honest. I don't know though. Shout out Trevor. Shout out Simon.
I like this question. How many sacks is Aiden getting in this next game?
I would say I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go 1.5. I don't think it's going to be, because Hutch was like, he got asked today and they were like, was that like the most you've ever had in your career? And he was like, yeah, I've never had more than 3 sacks in a game like that. Like I've never even came close to what I had.
Who asked that?
So that's crazy. I think someone asked him, like, was that the most you've ever had in a game?
Ever. Like in high school
in his whole career, high school, college, NFL.
Fair.
And he was like, the most I've ever had is I think 3. So like, I don't think he's not going to go out there and get 3 again. But like maybe 1.5, 1 to 1.5, I think is fair.
Yeah, I think he gets 1.
Give him a 2-piece tender. I think you had 2 of them.
2-piece.
Oh, hey, get me to 7.5, Klotz.
Yeah, 7.5. Oh, so on this, I was like, no, I didn't say that. 7.5 on the year. Yeah. Gotcha.
Diggity dog.
This is serious here. I actually.
Diggity dog. How many sacks does Hutch need before Jeff and Klotzy give him a little bit of credit?
So when this is where Boone. I need to hear your explanation.
Go Klotz. Yeah.
Explain to me where the loss of credit is when I compare him to guys like Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, and I said he's right on pause, right behind T.J. Watt, who is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. arguably a top 10 defensive player of all time, a guy that carries a franchise to the playoffs every year.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Where is the loss of credit? Like TJ
There
Watt.
is
So as the doc would say, Klotz, I'm not going to say anything. Just have your own opinion. We don't go against people. Hey, in sports talk, listen, in sports talk, you don't question opinions. You sit back and just say, "Hey, no, you're right, buddy. Good job. Great take."
Don't you buddy me. Don't
No.
you buddy me.
No.
I'm just doing what Doc's saying to do.
Point, you got to listen to our.
I'm listening and saying, "Good job.
Doc
That's a
will
great
listen.
take." I'll never question anyone out there that has their own opinion. I'll never question it. Klotz, I respect your take. It's an awesome take. Buddy.
Don't you do that.
Calm,
now.
hey,
don't
Klotz,
you do that.
I'm just saying the doc says you can't. Hey, you're
God.
not allowed to question
guys
people's
are
opinions.
You guys are dicks for not giving him credit.
I guess we're on the bad
word
side of the
against
narrative.
Jeff Klotz and Hutch is going to suck this year.
Yeah. we're just gonna every time he gets he's gonna throw Kyler Murray for like a 5-yard loss, and we're just gonna look and discuss. Not good enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so.
Yeah,
He ain't Micah yet. He ain't Micah
Better not
yet.
have a good game.
You
I
guys
don't
are
want that good game.
100%.
I wouldn't want that at all. Hate it. Just the thought of him winning.
Give me
Defensive Player of
Thibodeau.
the
Still.
Year.
I still want Thibodeau over Hutch Boone.
Yeah.
That's-
Whatever you guys say. Hey, whatever you guys
Avon
say.
next to
Whatever you
Lehman,
guys say. Have your own
Avon.
opinion. I'm not gonna go against you guys. Whatever you guys say.
Hey, John said I didn't say all that. I said bring the facts and stop saying calm down.
No, it's all right, Doc. You're right. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, Doc. You're right. You're right. Whatever you say, I'm not gonna go against you.
Oh
You're
my
right.
God. No, hey. Well, Doc and the boys. All right. It was a great show. By the way, chat, appreciate you.
Drop a like for the video. Booner was fighting.
Yeah,
I had a fun time. I'll never back down to anyone. I'll get in a screaming match with Jared Goff tomorrow if I have to. I will never. You guys know. No, if it was if it was something I didn't agree with, I would. And maybe there's something in this world that me and Jared Goff don't like with each other. You guys know me though. There's some sort of trigger in my head, and I have something wrong with me to where if I'm against someone, and I'll go. I don't care who it is. I'll always argue. There's just something wrong with me where I have to argue if I'm against you. I don't know what it is.
I mean,
Can't
yeah,
stop.
it's normal that we disagree. You argue.
I had fun though. I appreciate the people. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. Hit the like button as well. 8 to 10 tomorrow. Don't forget. Hit the like button. Everyone hit the like button. 160. We should have 160 likes. I love you.
Yeah, appreciate the love, everybody, so much. It's been a great season so far. Let's keep it up. Let's keep pushing. Keep it moving. Again, tune in tomorrow, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We'll be back. Until then, stay blessed. Get your merchandise. OfficialCTSports.com. We'll catch you. See ya.